Commission has proposed a change in opening dates that has already happened in affected areas, even as the rains continue to leave a trail of death, despair and destruction. A search and rescue mission is ongoing after a private boat that was ferrying an unspecified number of people capsized between Madogo and Garissa last evening. The boat was ferrying people out of Fiat across the flooded section of the Madogo-Garissa road when tragedy struck. A video seen from the incident showed several people on top of the capsized boat while others were swimming in the raging floods. Elsewhere, the Kenya Red Cross Society has evacuated 8 people to safety as floods continue to wreak havoc in Garissa County. The 8 were marooned at Fast Farm in Bulavumbi, Garissa Township, alongside several heads of livestock, and humanitarian organization added that its team was headed to another farm where 6 more people were reported to be marooned by flood waters. And you'll have to brace yourself for the ongoing rains that continue to wreak havoc as they'll slowly give way to dry weather in most of the country next month. The weatherman says the dry, warmer weather isn't expected until towards the end of July. He, however, states that counties along the Ethiopia and Somalia borders could still suffer flooding because these countries will continue to be unusually wet. The forecast follows a 2-week onslaught of rains leading to floods that have killed more than 70 Kenyans and displaced thousands. We may also not experience the bitterly cold June-July weather as temperatures will remain warmer. According to COTU Secretary General Francis Atwoli, Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka should be the right candidate to succeed as MU leader Raila Odinga. Speaking in Nairobi, Atwoli said this will ensure that the opposition remains strong if Raila happens to become the next new African Union Commission chairman. Atwoli further described Kalonzo as a respected leader who has very good morals.
I know them all. With Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, he will be a diplomat, he will be able to reach out those in the government and also those in the opposition to narrow the gap for us to be in a position to move towards one direction for the purposes of development.
Well, it should be remembered that in December last year, the Wiper leader said he'll start his 2027 presidential campaigns early, like President William Ruto did when he was the deputy president. The Kenya Defence Forces are still investigating a viral video depicting a confrontation between its officers and Kenya police at Likoni Ferry. The incident coming just 2 weeks of a similar one in Turkana, where police officers frog-marched KDF soldiers, has sparked widespread condemnation online. The statement by KDF expressed regret over the Likoni incident, acknowledging the injuries sustained by 2 police officers and security personnel. And news just coming in is that a dam in Old Kijabe has burst, sweeping through the nearby Maimahio town in Naivasha. Rescue operations are underway, according to the Naivasha Deputy County Commissioner Mutua Kisilu. That's the Newswire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
.5 SpiceFM, Kisumu.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
It's critical that people pay taxes, but then taxation has to have a limit. When you start overtaxing people beyond certain limit, then this is now we call robbery with violence.
We are all struggling, but we don't show. If you're not doing well, shame on you. But you have to say, I'm broke and I'm struggling. We are not okay until everybody is okay.
We are pretending to have political parties. Why don't we just be honest? And we say, these are the Luyas, these are the Kambas, these are the Kikuyus, and we find ourselves in Kenya.
You know, with politics and leadership, no matter what you do, there will always be a complaint. There will always be the assumption that you're either stealing or you're not doing things right. As a leader, don't fear. If you know you're doing the right thing, you've thought about it, you've got an expert advice, do it, then understand later.
This country, we don't need prayers. Prayers is between you and God. Good governance and thinkers who care about the country and not their stomach.
That's what we need.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
The man who looks at a beautiful girl and doesn't talk to her will end up serving lunch at her wedding.
Aye, City, do like that.
My father has killed a mouse. Will he fail to kill a man?
Ameua panya.
Small mammal, big mammal.
Mtu atamshinda.
How are we comparison? I mean, you kill a mouse.
What are they saying?
What they're saying is, my father has killed a mouse. Will he fail to kill a man? Name, surprise. Someone's name.
The name surprised you?
No, the name is surprise.
No, what am I saying? I'm from Nigeria, man. I met somebody called I Believe. So I said, your name is I Believe? Yes, my name is I Believe. But that's the short form. I said, excuse me? I said, yes, my name is I Believe. What's the full name? I believe in the goodness of God.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
You tune into Kenya's biggest conversation. My name is Ramanyang.
Amen. Amen.
So 1 hour is over?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It gets over
Can you imagine
in 20 minutes.
what the big boys have also done?
I'm very proud of myself.
When you understand about partnership in politics, it's like the way marriage is these days. When you're looking for a wife, you're like, oh, you know, maybe you can help me pay for fees as I pay for the rent.
Why should you have a lioness living in your bedroom? I have to tell you a story. I went for a prayer meeting, which was called for the spouses of candidates for senators and governors. And when I got to the gate, the lady who was the secretary, she refused to. She's telling me, no. Leo tunataka wa mama. Leo ni wa mama. I'm telling her, no. She said, no, sio siku yenu. And I thought, there's a problem here, you know, because if it was a man, but this was a lady.
It will be called First Ladies until you change the name.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Good morning and welcome to Monday. Yes, I know, quite a wet weekend and a lot of roads not being passable throughout the country. Let's take a look at what's happening this morning in terms of traffic. A little bit here and there, and you're coming off of Jogo Road, heading out towards Landis. Landis is free and clear, but then as you touch on Kamkunji at the roundabout, it's going to slow down just a little bit. There's already traffic building on Kangunda Road. Let's take a look at what's coming off of Thika Superhighway. Quite some traffic as you get towards Survey. We're going to take a look at how this happens through the morning, but for now I think you can get through it. Let's wait and see what it looks like, and we'll talk on SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Hiya. Mambo namnegani. Good morning. Just before the end of April, we're back. Mambo is okay, let me start again.
Come Rory.
Mambo is VP Ndu.
Mambo? Hey, Rico.
How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well.
I'm happy to see you.
I've missed you.
You missed me? Yeah. Able say how much? But don't say like everything, because then people watakuona tu.
Let's just say I missed you.
Okay, then we leave the rest to imagination and chance.
Yeah. Okay. Start putting quantums into it. We are now going into another realm. All together. City, I missed you as well.
kunimisi utawacha.
Siwezi wacha. Sasa nitawachaje?
Tuachie nani?
Nitaachia nani?
You know, Eric, it is true. This thing of working with somebody every day is not good.
It's not,
Because when they're not there, you actually miss them. Even people like me who don't publicly
who
claim
don't normally miss people.
No, I miss people. I just don't publicly
just
claim.
don't say it.
No, but I miss people. The people I actually miss. But to utter it,
Gumo.
no, you start the word. I start feeling pain on Saturday stomach.
I didn't see you for a while.
that one can work. Yes.
I haven't seen you. How long has it been?
Those are all that of the above. You're in a work.
That is it.
But I miss you. By the time you come to you just find like your mouth is stuck. But how have you been, Eric?
I'm well. I have been well. Yes.
Good.
Good. I was in this city of ours.
This city of ours is a wonderful city.
It's a big and a wonderful city, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Many things have been happening in this city of ours.
True, and the citizens of this particular country who even reside in this city, when the song was sang, that this is a country of Ajabu, believe me, they don't know just how right they were.
Kabisa. Kabisa.
It's a fascinating country.
Completely.
With fascinating people.
Oh, completely. Yeah. So I bring you greetings from very many quarters in Nairobi. I attended the American Chamber of Commerce Business Summit for the 2 days that it happened. The Secretary of Commerce from the USA said hi. She listens to your show.
Really?
The what?
The US Secretary of Commerce.
She listens to the show?
Ah, of course. Nasema hata Biden haezi lala.
Sasa unaona propaganda
kama hajasikiza situation room. Nah, always.
You need to counter. Tell her. Even brother Tinibo. Pia nasikiza.
Kila mtu. Listen to the show. Hey, kila mtu, how are you doing? It's good to be back. It's good to have you all tuned in. We are live streaming the show. Where at Christina Shusho released the song.
That's right.
While we were away.
Guess what it's called?
What is it called?
You just listen and see. Are you ready?
Okay, yes. I don't know if it will play here, but just press play.
I've pressed play.
Malikuwa na mtu mmoja na wako masikini, na ikiwa nimenyang'anya mtu kitu kwa ila na mrudishia mara 4.
Liambiwa shuka upesi. Shuka chini Zakayo.
It's a good song, isn't it?
It's a good song. I know what Christina Shusho does with her music. She goes to the Bible. She does not compose the lyrics.
It's
she takes the Bible, she takes the verse. Palikuwa na mtu moja anaitwa Zakayo.
Alikuwa na mtu moja
anaitwa Zakayo. Word for word. But she times it very well. Zakayo in very many ways in this country is not what we are saying in the Bible. Alikuwa mfupi.
He was.
Akapanda mti.
According to the Bible. It's the reason why he climbed the tree. Because the tree gave him height.
You wanted to see Jesus.
Hiya. Live streaming the show on YouTube, Facebook, and everywhere else. Also on our digital radio platforms. Also on our website, www.spicefm.co.ke. Is it?
Yes, it is.
It is the co.ke.
Yes.
Yeah, I was looking at that and thinking it could be .co.za.
You are in Kenya.
Or .tz. www.spicefm.co.ke. You can also find the show live streaming there. 17 minutes after 6. Say hello. After Ndu gives us the weather forecast, we shall do like that.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day. The weather with Spice FM.
A bit of a drizzle in Nairobi, 16 degrees. We'll see highs of 25 this morning. Highs of 24 and lows of 15 in a partly cloudy Nakuru at 15, and it's cloudy at 16 in Nyeri with highs of 25. Looking into a mostly cloudy Eldoret at 14 with highs of 23. Mombasa is cloudy at 25 with highs of 32. And into Malindi, it's partly cloudy at 26 with highs of 31. We'll see highs of 27 in Kisumu, where it's mostly cloudy at 20. And at 18, it's cloudy it's mostly cloudy in Kakamega with highs of 27. Out into Kampala, it's cloudy at 22 with highs of 26, and Dar es Salaam is partly cloudy at 24 with highs of 31. We're looking into a mostly clear Johannesburg at 10 with highs of 22. Mogadishu at 26 is mostly cloudy with highs of 32, and Addis Ababa at 14 is cloudy with highs of 22. We're looking into a mostly cloudy Lagos at 29 with highs of 33, and we'll see highs of 34 in Kinshasa, where it's clear at 25. Monday afternoon is cloudy at 12 degrees in Beijing, going to highs of 16, while Paris is cloudy at 7, we'll see highs of 20. And London cloudy at 7, will go to highs of 15, and Sunday night in New York is 17 degrees, coming into Monday, highs of 24 and lows of 16.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
So before you do like that with everybody else, let me just tell you what we shall be discussing today. At 7 a.m., we will be joined here by the Director of Public Prosecutions, Renson Ingonga. He comes at 7, and we talk about the work that he and his officers at the ODPP are doing. So what we know from the other side is DPP says, I'm opening prosecution against individuals. Then kidogo, DPP says, Your Honor, we would like to withdraw these charges against this person. And people have been asking, what do you mean? What on earth is that all about? The DPP will be here. He'll come and speak to us. The good thing about Renson Ingonga is that he has worked and risen through the ranks of the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. So he can't come and tell us it's the other guys. He was the other guys. Even then. 7 a.m., that's a conversation. 8 o'clock, it's raining, it's flooding in Nairobi. The situation on the ground, the MP for Dagoretti North Constituency, Beatrice Elachi, will be joining us at 8 for that conversation. And then at 9 a.m., let's talk about the emerging trends in the hotel industry in Kenya. Panari Group strategy, what's it? Benson Mulandi is the Group Sales and Marketing Manager at the Panari Group. That's the Panari Hotel, the Panari Resort, and the Panari Residences. Those are many. Why, my friend, across counties. So Benson will come and speak to us at that point. So we've got Renson, Beatrice, and Benson in that order. Who's online?
Everybody is online this morning. Wycliffe Orechi, good morning to you. So last week we said, okay, some people who've never tuned in, and this is your first time of getting in, always a good time to say welcome to you, and a special one as you join us. Joseph Kimonge also says good morning. A lot of rain. Tuning from Ibentra and Kisi. Yes, there is quite a lot of rain, folks. Evans Ntabo says good morning to everybodyable, and especially Nyaboke. And then we say, please tell Kenyans to take it seriously. The floating is not good. Take it seriously. And this is the thing, we've seen too many videos over the last couple of days of folks who've gotten into a body of water. You assume that the vehicle will move in one direction. It does not. And then people sink. People drowning over the last couple of days. So please, err on the side of caution. Good morning, crew. The weather is weathering. Yes, it is. Kalonzo might be the best Azimio leader, but he's full of cold water. What's wrong? Desmond Otis tuned in from Usenge Beach this morning. Duke Ogeto says good morning, welcome to the show. Asante Sana, good morning to you, and Karibu Sana. Isaac Cherotich is tuned in this morning and says tuned in from Nyeri. Jeffrey Mogaka says good morning everybody. Ndu City. Eric Nyaboke tuned in from Pipeline. Have a blessed week. Ricardo Mariero says good morning, kings and queens. If it were Mantoro's time, school opening could already have been postponed to a later date. Well, we did see the circular that came out from the ministry at 1 a.m. This morning, maybe a little too late.
Saying what?
That schools will be, the school opening rather, will be extended or postponed for a week until the 6th of May. Unfortunately, it came at 1 a.m. and folks have already made plans to travel.
Who was sending it out at 1 a.m.?
This is a question. Who sent it out at 1 a.m.? But
wait, It was dated.
The date of the circular
29th,
is 29th of April,
1 a.m.,
which is today morning. It went out on Twitter, and
when was this? Was school supposed to reopen?
Schools are supposed to open today.
Okay.
So previously, the communication that came from the ministry is that schools that were that you could not, inaccessible rather, would remain closed, whereas everybody else would go to school.
So it was about the school heads to make that determination.
They said that all schools whereby floods had not affected them severely would remain open, and that was towards the end of last week.
Okay.
So that was clear. But remember that things started really getting out of hand from Thursday onwards. But then, and there was a debate, should we not, should we not? Here we are at we should not. But that circular came from the ministry. It was released at about 1:20 this morning. So all schools, primary and secondary, according to the ministry, will remain closed for another week.
Okay.
We'll probably get more information in the course of this morning.
What? Okay.
Ado Ali says, good morning from County 001 to the Kiziwi. Good morning, everybody. Tell us the reopening of schools. Is there any changes? Yeah, well, that's what we've received this morning. Good morning. Wake up and prove them wrong for doubting you. Mambo ya siku moja itajipa. Itajipa na hufanyi. Kiswahili imekwama. Chochote hiyo ni ndoto ya mchana nani. What does that mean? I don't even understand.
Ndoto ya mchana bana. That is dreaming in the daytime.
Okay. Leo says, hello, Princess Ndu. Well, good morning to you. CT and Eric. It's with deep sorrow we announce the tragic death of humanity. Alarm? Hey, okay, yeah. Pushing for AHP in marooned areas. There was quite a thing yesterday, as we saw that, of course. Kiki says, good morning, beautiful people. Greetings from rainy Arua in Uganda. Harbin Ikosawa says KK. Jimmy Wekesa tuned in this morning. Rogers Nyange says, good morning from Voi Taita. Ivan Omondi. Good morning, Team Spice. Kitengela is locked. Patrick Waishigo. Good morning, Spicers. Tuned in from Kent in Washington. Jimmy Munuthi says, good morning, another Monday. I was very worried if schools were to open today. Well, from what we see, they will not. Anne Gore says, good morning, my beautiful Chamge, my beautiful people. Karibu Eric, greetings from the beautiful hills of Sabotin, Trans Nzoia. Tale, nawapenda sana. Good morning to you. Yes, Eric, he says, Eric, it's been a while. Yes, he's back. Peter Kaboy says, good morning, SpiceFM rock stars, ready to kick off another week with some sizzle and spice. Let's heat it up this happy Monday. We see all of you online this morning. Karibuni sana, asante sana for joining us.
Indeed. City this week.
Algeria. We is in Algeria. Yes, whose capital is Algiers. Interesting country, this one. Oh yes, we will talk more and more about it. It's the 10th most populous country on the continent. 10th. It's around 45 million people.
And it's the 10th most populous.
So Kenya is what? Number 2?
No, we're not number 2. Well, let's put it this way, Kenya is not number 1.
We know who number 1 is.
Yes, we know who number 1 is. Number 1 is sitting with us here.
Ni wengi hawatoshei kwao.
Bwana ni wengi.
I will not allow you this morning. Can you see the colors that I'm wearing? I bleed green.
No, we welcome neighbors.
Even my shoe, I bleed green.
We welcome our neighbors.
Una no sabi me.
All right, Sabi, listen to the proverb.
Okay.
Cross the river, but don't cross the silent one.
Cross the river,
but don't cross
the silent one. That's deep.
I've wondered about this proverb myself, and I'm still wondering. Yes.
Still waters run deep kind of thing?
Yep.
Still waters run deep kind of thing.
Yeah, you don't know how.
Still waters run deep kind of thing. The still waters also run silent kind of thing. Yes.
It's true.
Okay. Let's look at the headlines.
On the front page of the Standard this morning, anatomy of a sick nation, the irony of a country that spends an arm and a leg to train its highly prized professionals but wants to dump them into penury after graduation while its poor citizens wallow in disease without timely treatment amid opulence among political elites. My goodness.
Gracious me.
600,000 shillings is the current fee for medical students per year. 38,000 shillings is the medical student fee per year in the early 2000s. Can you make a comparison between the two? There's been a rise in the fee
Cost of training a medical student.
A medical student by 562,000 shillings.
Okay.
William Ruto says, we mind about them, the doctors. We value the service they give to our nation, but we must live within our means. The resources we have are only sufficient to pay 70,000. CS Public Service Moses Courier says, this is a guy who has just done his last CAT, the CA continuous assessment test. We have budgeted for doctors. We do not have a budget for students. So this guy who's an intern is just a student.
Who said that?
CS Courier.
Moses Courier. He's someone who's just done a CAT.
He's just done a CAT here and we want us to pay him. He's a student.
So the student, so...
No. Moses Courier, first of all, he's wrong from ab initio. This is not someone who's just done a CAT.
For goodness sake.
No.
This is somebody who's
been through
graduated.
7 years of school.
Yes.
He's graduated medical school.
Yes.
He's done every single medical test that is necessary for him or her to be deemed a doctor. Why they're doing this year of internship is then for them to get a license, to practice.
Actually, it's to ground you.
For goodness sake.
Yeah. You're no longer a student. That's the whole point. You are no longer a student. You're being grounded in the various disciplines that you're likely to encounter when you are practicing.
It's insane.
And when you go through it, that then is the measure that will provide the proof that you're actually able to be licensed. Hey, here.
We'll look into the details of that story, but it's a bit annoying to hear. Is the government on Fuliza mode? What the numbers show. Ruto hosts key Africa meeting on development funding. Okay. Aspirants, UDA polls a sham. The grassroots elections that took place yesterday, they're calling them a what? A sham.
Are those people who are calling it a sham the people who won the elections?
No, the aspirants who lost are calling it a sham. From failing gadgets to missing names of voters and candidates, aspirants say grassroots polls were decided elsewhere and winners were just announced at the polling centers. Really? Okay.
You're skipping a headline, but in the Standard.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay, Sawa. Arsenal thrash Spurs in the derby.
Very good.
We couldn't miss out. And I can see Edna already shining there
Very
where
good.
she is. Sawa.
Very good.
At some point yesterday, I tried to reach Edna. I can't talk to her because Arsenal is playing. No, Allah. All right. Daily Nation on the front page. State to revise next budget by 350 billion shillings. Okay. The taxman has failed to hit revenue targets and it has presented the government with no other alternative but to reduce the projected expenditure plans in the next financial year by up to 350 billion. Unless it implements some of its pending taxation measures, including the introduction of a motor vehicle circulation tax and the controversial withholding tax on farm produce. That's the only two ways in which they'll be to make this money. Now, if they can't do that, you have to cut costs by 350 billion, Bob. Okay.
I keep saying this is just stories.
Stories, huh?
Jabba.
Okay.
Look, you live in a 50k house today. You come home and tell people we're going to move to a 100k house next month. And then you come back and say, no, we'll not move to a 100k house next month. We'll move to an 80k house next month. You've cut back your budget.
By 20,000. You've cut down your aspirational budget. Goma. Okay. Schools in flood areas to remain closed. This was, of course, before the circular that came out from the ministry at 1:20 a.m. today. Schools in flooded areas were to remain closed, but then they've said now all primary and secondary schools, reopening of schools will be extended for a week. So schools will open on the 6th of May as opposed to today. We'll probably get more information, but the circular was explained. I mean, it was clear what CS Machogu is saying.
Okay.
Concern over the rise in cases of KDF police confrontations. We saw the confrontation between police and KDF in Likoni over the weekend of Friday. That was quite unfortunate. Seems everybody's going mano el mano.
Yeah.
Azimio leaders defend Atwoli. Get out of here. Okay. Nature's fury. Heavy rains continue to wreak havoc. This is a flooded house in Mukuru kwa Ruben, just here in Nairobi yesterday. Heavy rains that pounded the capital city Saturday night. The rains also affected flights at the JKIA, and we also saw those disturbing pictures of cargo material that was floating in the airports.
Yeah.
It's not a pretty sight, folks.
This is what I always talk about. You see this photo? This is what I always talk about and think about. When it rains heavily, the people in the slums of Nairobi. Right? This is it. This is a picture of it.
This is it.
This is
what happens to these folks?
This is what happens. People are flooded. I mean, anyway. Let me tell you what's on the Business Daily. US fund loses 4-year tax battle from Java House sale. The Kenya Revenue Authority has slapped private equity fund Emerging Capital Partners Kenya, that's called ECP Kenya in short, with a 773.8 million shilling tax claim for the 2017 sale of the popular restaurant chain Java House. Business Daily has established that on October 6, 2023, the Tax Appeals Tribunal threw out a petition by ECP Kenya challenging the claim by the KRA following a tax assessment in February 2022. The 778 million was a downgrade from an earlier corporate income tax assessment of 3.2 billion issued by KRA in September 2021, a valuation that prompted an objection from ECP. So initially, KRA came and said that you guys have sold Java. We want 3.2 billion shillings in tax. They were like, what? No. Went to the tribunal, blah, blah, blah. It came down to 773 million shillings. They were still objecting, and that the Tax Appeals Tribunal said, no, actually, you guys, 773 is what you should pay. There's a big headline here with some graphs. Escalating Middle East conflict to hit fuel prices in Kenya after 5 consecutive cuts. An escalation of the conflict in the Middle East will push the crude prices above $100 a barrel, according to the World Bank, presenting a fresh inflation headache to consumers and central banks that have been looking to cut rates to stimulate economic growth. So because of what's happening in the Middle East, mafuta napanda. Mafuta kipanda, watu naumia. Ticker headlines: Business Daily hosts the inaugural Innovate Hub branch empowering women. EPRA to audit 4,300 fuel LPG retailers in safety checks. Savannah Cement property sale probed. And Carrefour sales dropped 38 billion shillings on weak shilling. Where? Foreign-owned retail chain Carrefour Kenya posted a 4.3% decline in sales to 1.05 billion AED, equivalent to 38 billion in the financial year ended December 2023. That's blamed on a weak shilling. CT?
Yes.
The Star.
Yes, top right-hand corner in Till Green.
Yeah.
Annual Fish Festival. Guess where this took place?
Oh, wow.
Okay, exactly. Dead sacred snake Omeri thrills Kisumu fiesta visitors. Well, there was this festival, fish, and then more fish, etc., etc. But among the things that thrilled people, this snake died a while back. It was preserved and it was at the museum, but they brought out so that people could see it, and people were very keen to see the snake. Remember, it has been alleged for the longest time that this snake had mythical powers. By the way, it's a python, just so that you understand. Mythical powers, and it brought good luck. So people even offered
when did
sacrifice.
This snake die? Was it in the late 80s or early 90s?
Early 90s.
So there are many people who are adults today who never saw this snake.
Yes.
So going to see it is actually a big thing.
Given that the legend is really larger than the snake itself, just seeing it would be interesting, because you've heard of it, you've heard of what it did, what it didn't do. And the thing about myths is that with the passage of time, they grow bigger, not smaller. Especially with regards to a snake. And snakes, by and large, are things that we Africans fear.
That's no
we do not like snakes. All the stories about the benefits of reptiles, we understand the theory, but we fear snakes. It's not complicated. So when it's in a nice glass thing in majig, and you can see it there, and then you are told it's dead, you feel, okay, this is a good snake.
This snake was meant to do what now?
It was a good luck charm.
So there's a myth and a legend around the snake. But
Yes.
the snake actually existed.
This particular snake, it existed.
What did it used to do?
Apart from being a snake.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I mean, things that it did or did not do, what did it eat
No,
people?
it's what it represented. No, it never ate people. Snakes rarely eat people. What they do, they eat your livestock.
So it ate people's livestock?
Yeah, you'd find, for instance, a dog has disappeared and you wonder when the dog disappeared.
Sweetie, please do not answer the next question.
Wants to assume that it was a big snake.
Please do not answer the next question.
Yeah,
She's trying to reduce this snake into just a snake.
I want to understand.
It's not just a snake.
And I'm waiting.
It's a big snake.
It had mythical powers.
Pythons, by and large, tend to be big.
Yeah, this one must have been pretty mighty for it to have such a reputation.
This one was humongous, in fact, is the word.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, it was.
Where did it live?
Around the areas of Kisumu County.
Okay.
Up the hills. Somewhere after the Kano Plains, a place called Nyakach, that region there.
So who killed it?
The snake died.
It died after several attempts of dying.
Of dying. After it tried to die.
The snake died. You know what? You want to ask me if it had relatives?
No, I'm done for now. I'll have more questions when you read the story, of course.
All right.
And you think I'm going to read the story? when you give me a preamble,
Other headlines, please.
But state agencies failed to spend 222 billion shillings. What?
We don't have. There's no money.
Key government agencies are on the spot for failing to spend, not keep, spend billions of shillings, mostly donor cash and loans meant for projects at the end of 2023 financial year. Okay?
All right.
Government agencies had not spent about 223 billion. The amount could be higher.
All right.
Donor money. Then, dangerous West African mosquito found in Kenya. Okay?
Whoa.
Dangerous West African mosquito. Yes, and some say it is green in color. A West African malaria mosquito has been found in Kenya for the first time.
What?
The scientists are really vigorous. They even know this.
See, just the other day we had a mosquito from the Middle East.
We did.
Or from Asia.
We did.
Kwani Kenya is now attracting
all Africans.
We said cradle of mankind, not cradle of animal kingdom. Surely. When Ruto said that visa-free, he didn't mean visa-free.
Plus animals.
Surely.
And this particular mosquito is considered to be highly competent, according to the writer of this article. It's called an Anopheles coluzi. That's the scientific name. So coluzi is in Kenya. Thrives very well in semi-arid, arid sort of like places. All right? Now, residents in Mackinnon fear losing services. Mackinnon residents have expressed fear of missing crucial government service after following a protracted boundary dispute between Kwale and Taita. This thing has been going on for years.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And in it, you'll find there's some conservation land. You'll find there's anyway. The residents say they fear missing education bursaries and other development projects. But every county has this. But they in Kwale, I see. If you move from Kwale to Taita Taveta, that's where the problem is.
It's revenue.
And not the other way around.
It's revenue.
Right. Then bang in the middle of the paper, supremacy. UDA is conducting competitive elections while ODN has opted for consensus. This is the headline, okay?
Okay.
Why Ruto party rejig plans threaten ODM, really? Raila party laughs off UDA polls in his stronghold, describe the elections as a joke. Yeah, no wonder the UDA is reacting this way. When it rains, it pours. And then these are pictures of buildings that have submerged, literally. And then this is in Sultan Hamud, and you're seeing people carrying the body of somebody who was swept away by water and passed away. You know, this water thing, my friend, is really very serious. Huh? Not garden variety serious, red card carrying serious. Yes. Enough said.
Okay, Ndu, tell us about traffic.
Real quick.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
All right, let's take a look at what's going on. Some traffic that's really heavy on Landis Road. It's coming off of Jogo Road, heading out towards Kamkunji at the roundabout. It's in and outbound traffic on Haile Selassie as you then cross over towards Ngong Road. Traffic coming in from Ngong Road, not quite the thing just yet. But if you take a look at the Thika Superhighway, it's heavy coming in from Survey. There's a little bit of traffic right around Muthaiga Square. But as you're coming in from Garden City Mall and then down that slope, there's quite some, so just watch out for that. It's likely to build up. We're already seeing the build up of traffic coming in from all the way beyond that junction and then in from Githurai. So all of that is pretty busy right about now. Are you coming out of Westlands? You're okay. Let's take a quick look at James Kishore, because over that drift there's a lot of water over the weekend, and so folks are worried about how to cross over, and it still continues to come in. One of those rivers actually then, or rather tributary stream, something like that, burst its banks as well. So folks are careful as they're trying to cross over to the Red Hill Link Road. So let's watch out for that, shall we? All right, let's talk through it. SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Tell us something.
There are many things happening as a result of the rain. Let's look at pages 2 and 3 of the Daily Nation. Kenya Airways diverts her flights due to heavy rains and poor visibility. So a number of flights were diverted over the weekend. And we did see that parts of the airport already then flooded as well. Saturday night flights were diverted. The national carrier warned of potential delays in departure from JKIA due to poor visibility caused by the torrential downpours. That was Saturday night. From the officers, they said that due to this, they would have to divert a number of flights, which may lead to extended delays for some of their departures. They apologize for the inconvenience. In this case, really not their fault. If you look at other parts of the airport where KAA then has to deal with a number of issues where there's been flooding, and that has affected internal operations because of this. There are many, many pictures. I'm going to skip over that story really quickly so you know what's happening with that kind of transport. Schools in flood-hit areas to remain shut. This is according to CS Machogu. He said this the day before. He said that although term 2 was to begin as scheduled, most schools some schools would postpone opening dates by a week to monitor the situation. That was print. Okay. Overnight, rather early this morning, we saw that the ministry has now said all primary and secondary schools will remain closed as they monitor the situation for another week and then see how they can open come the 6th of May, which is a week from today. Now, that, of course, like we said, we'll probably get more information from the ministry as we go through the morning, but that was a circular that came out. The death toll climbs to over 80 amid forecast of more rain. Flooding and heavy rains in the country have killed more than 80 people since mid-March and are expected to persist in the next few days. The latest weekly forecast by the Kenya Meteorological Department shows the update issued yesterday comes amid ongoing efforts by the Kenya Red Cross to evacuate stranded residents from flooded homes. For weeks now, the country has experienced heavy rains and severe flooding. It's not getting any better. If anything, it's getting worse. Areas, and now what the Red Cross had talked about is that areas which were dry a couple of weeks ago are also now affected quite some. Places where you used to walk, the water levels are so high that the Red Cross is rescuing people by inflated boats. Imagine places where children would ride bicycles or play. The water is so high that people have to get out of doors, swim to the raft, and then be taken to a dry ground. That is exactly what is happening. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua yesterday was carrying a child at the Valley Bridge Primary School in Kiamaiko, Mathare yesterday, where he visited families affected by floods. The displaced people were given food, mattresses and blankets. On Thursday last week, the President, William Ruto, announced that there would be, let me get this right, a multi-agency stakeholders task force that was to come together to now figure out what to do. They were then, that was on Wednesday, sorry. They were supposed to meet that Wednesday and then by Thursday, Friday, tell us exactly what's happening. Crickets. So Red Cross continues as we wait for this to happen. We did also hear from the county government of Nairobi that any approvals for further developments now have been stopped. So if that was going to contribute to the problem, I don't know, we'll see. But that has been stopped. But in terms
excavations also halted.
Yes, excavations halted as well. So we know that the office of the DP and quite a number of others, churches, mosques, rather religious organizations, are giving space to people to come and stay in those buildings, and also giving out food and clothing and things like this. Because guys, the numbers that we're talking about now, upwards of 40,000 families around the country. 40,000 families. Do your math if your average is 4 people per family. have then been displaced because of this, and it continues to get worse. But the call is that also, please, if you do see a large body, a water body, and the water is moving, do not attempt to cross. Whether you're in a bus, a trailer, we've seen all of them submerged in the last few days. So do not, please. But like we said, Kenya Met has told us that this week that we're in now, we'll see higher levels of rain than we saw last week or the week before. So it's not getting any better. That's where we are.
This is a big one, and with the kind of death toll that we're seeing, more than 80 people dying, that's a high number of people dying. And they're dying because of... So let me do this story about the anatomy of a sick nation, lead story in the Standard this morning. And what the Standard have done is basically looked at, okay, so what is this that we talk about when you say we are training doctors? Remember, in this country, the government subsidizes, heavily subsidizes education at university level, right?
Yes.
And that's when now you come in and you get in the HELB loan and you will come in and repay. And so there's money that comes from the government for education, and then there's money that comes from your pockets for education. What comes from your pocket for education? Otalipa. How much does it cost us to train a doctor? 3.5 million shillings, according to this math that's been done by the Standard today. It costs us this much. How long does it take to train a doctor? It takes 6 years to train a doctor. And what happens in those 6 years? Those 6 years are basically divided into various units. So, for example, in the first 3 years of education, these are spent on basic sciences, anatomy, physiology, and biochemistry. The number of years are for understanding how the human body functions by operating cadavers. A cadaver is a human body used by medical students, physicians, and other scientists to identify diseases, disease sites, determine causes of death, and providing tissue to repair a defect in a living human being. Okay? For an individual to train as a doctor, while other than going through theory, you also must accompany that with some practicals. And if you want to understand the anatomy of a body, you must dissect a cadaver. Physiology helps in knowing how the body works. Biochemistry helps in understanding the system. What are the chemicals changing, and how much does the pain change how the patient is thinking? In the third year, students are taught about forensic medicine. In the fourth, fifth, and sixth years are a whole series of clinical periods for medical students. Fourth will be an introduction, but by the sixth year, they're supposed to be ready to serve the population. This is where now you see with with training universities, students being attached to these training institutions. For example, Moi University, the training hospital is Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital. On the fourth year, you are allowed to go to the wards as a student. They are quoting a gentleman called Kibet, and Kibet is no, it's Kibet. Kibet. I'll tell you who Kibet is. I've seen Kibet somewhere being mentioned who Kibet is. I'll tell you. But anyway, once those formative years are done, you graduate and you start performing clinical work. The formative years happen in Chiromo for the University of Nairobi. Clinical years happen at the Kenyatta National Hospital for the University of Nairobi. So the first 3 years, you still are going to a facility. And then the next 3 years, you still are going to a facility. So by the time you are graduating and you have this Bachelor of Medicine and Surgery, you are basically a qualified doctor.
Yes.
But then, according to the law, you must then work under close supervision of a senior doctor for 1 year. You work under a senior doctor for 1 year for you to do what? For you to then be allowed to operate independently. And that's when you're licensed as a doctor. After that, you start then working. You cannot go to start specializing, that's going for your master's, until you've done 3 years of service. So you've done university for 6 years. You've done internship the 7th year. Year 8, year 9, year 10, you are working as a general doctor. And then now that's when you qualify to apply for a master's degree. Not all of them, of course, apply for the master's degree in the 10th year.
Sure.
So you'll depending on when you want to apply and when you actually succeed, it'll take a while. Now, if you are in a university that finishes its academic year maybe in June, July, March, posting for interns happens in February. So you've graduated with a university with a doctor's degree in June. You have to wait until next year, February, for you to be posted for an internship.
Yes.
If it does not happen like has happened this year, February, we're still counting time before you start becoming a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
All this happens as your HELB loan is due
and it's being charged,
and the interest is accruing on your HELB loan.
But remember also,
and because you did 6 years in university, your HELB loan is higher than everybody else who did 4 years in university. Okay.
And also remember that it is a requirement by the Ministry of Health for you to do this.
Yes.
It is a requirement by government that if you're going to work as a medical doctor in the country, that you must do the 1 year of internship in order for you to be licensed.
Yeah.
It is not them who said, actually, you know what I want to do? I want to do 1 year of internship.
Mm-mm.
No. They ask you to do it. So
it's not voluntary.
Exactly.
So that's why the doctors are saying, okay, you look, I need to get a job that then can start deducting me. If you deduct, give me 70,000 shillings, deduct all these taxes that you put in, because immediately you're getting this 70k, you start getting deducted even housing levy. Left, right, and center.
Nothing will remain.
And then help sends, boss, you're in mshahara, start paying help. How much are you left with? And you've been posted very far from your home area.
So you have to find a place to stay.
You have to find a place to stay. You've got to
and not
have your
all
own
health
living
facilities
expenses.
have accommodation facilities
Yep.
for their health workers.
Yeah. So this is what the doctors are saying. Look, it's not just not like what Moses Kuria is saying. This is somebody who's just done a cut and they're going back to. It's not a 3-month internship.
No, it's not.
And then you go back to school. No, this is completely different.
And the internship isn't 3 months; it's a year.
It's a full year of internship for a graduate. It's basically graduate training.
It is.
This one, yeah. So Ruto is saying, you know what? We understand, we appreciate, but we don't have money. We can only afford 70,000 shillings. We can only afford 70,000 shillings. That
how did they come up with this figure of 70?
Yeah, why 70?
Why 70? Why not 65?
No, 50.
Or 45? I mean,
Or 100
Or
then.
100? Why 70? For crying out loud.
Yeah.
If the president has been advised that that is the case, somebody has misadvised him. Because essentially you're downplaying the importance of this. But let me stop this discussion and ask the question, which is on my mind really. What are we dealing with here? It is not that they don't understand the importance of these people.
They do.
It is not that they don't understand that 70 is a paltry sum and will not really serve anything. What is going on here?
The truth of the matter is that there is a cash crunch, that's true. But unfortunately, where you should actually cut government spending, you choose that you don't want to cut it there, and you think that you can get away with cutting it from the doctors who are providing an essential service to the country, and you assume that they're going to keep quiet and take whatever small end of the stick that you're going to give to them. Unfortunately, you've been met by a bunch of folks who are saying, you know what, not me. Not me. And that's the thing. Where you should cut, you're not cutting. And where you should pay top dollar, you're not paying. And you're expecting those folks to be quiet like lambs going to the slaughter. That's what's happening.
It's very interesting. Because one of the things that I mentioned how state agencies failed to spend 220 billion, and this is donor money.
Yeah.
So you have to ask, where exactly has this money not been spent? And why has it not been spent? Are you telling me that if the government set its mind to actually pay the interns, they could not pay the interns?
They could.
The answer is they could. Have they set their minds to it? No. So why have they set their minds to this particular path that they seem hell-bent on sticking to? My question again, what really is going on here?
Yeah, there's more than meets the eye. It's not about the 200 to 70.
No.
Because also there's the optics of it. As you're talking about reducing the money that you pay the medical interns, as you talk about all these things, you're passing a bill in Parliament that will introduce a new office called a CS.
Yes.
You are looking at how else you are going to spend money on just maintaining people in public office.
Yes.
Even as much as you're talking about cutting back the budget by 350 billion shillings. This, I don't buy this story of state to slash budget by 350 billion shillings.
That's the story.
Ruto's first speech in Parliament as president, he said, I am directing the National Treasury to look at how we can cut back the current budget by 300 billion shillings.
Did that happen?
Some word here or there.
Yep.
Then they increased that budget from 3.2 to 3.7 billion shillings in Ruto's first budget. Then Ruto wants to say in the second budget he wanted to increase from 3.7 to 4.2 billion shillings, but he now is going to cut it back by trillion.
Yes.
Now he's going to cut it back by 300 billion shillings.
So you've increased it so that you can cut it. What have you done exactly?
What are these stories, Bana? What are these stories?
We are going to increase our budget so that we can now reduce the budget.
Then you're like, no, we have reduced it. And that's why you find these two stories. The Standard asking, is the government on Fuliza mode? What treasury numbers show? Of course, the story is written by economist Dennis Kabara, who's looking back at what the numbers in the treasury show. 1.535 trillion shillings is the tax collections after 9 months to March this year, way off the annual target of 2.4 trillion shillings. By March, we have collected 1.5. We're supposed to collect 2.4 by June. KRA average monthly tax take this year is 171 billion shillings. They should be collecting 208 billion shillings every month if they're to hit that target. Debt service as percentage of revenue. Do you know how much is going into debt? For every 100 shillings collected, 81 bob is going to pay debt. Plus 47 paying salaries. It equals 100%.
And you've not done anything else.
Let me just read something in 1 minute so that you understand what we're talking about. We're talking about the billions that haven't been spent. This is according to the Auditor General, of course. The Ministry of Health is also on the spot over an unspent 28 billion, which was meant for sector upgrades in preparation for pandemics. Okay? The government secured a grant of 33 billion for the venture, which was to run between March 2020 to March 2025. However, as at of June 30th last year, the project had not drawn disbursements of 28.4 billion, which translates to 84% of the money has not been used. Okay? Agencies keep holding on to cash, spending, pending bills of going to pile, and the figures racing to 800 million.
What happens in these cases? So, donor money has been put aside. What is this whole bureaucracy that delays releasing of this money?
Donor money comes with conditionality, as we call them. You said you want to spend it on this, that's what you spend it on.
Yeah, and if you do, in the event, for all donor money, by the way, in the event that you do not spend it, according to the reportage that you do, you must return it.
It's okay. Sometimes I question these donors as well, in the conditions that they put in releasing the money. Sometimes I think they're just too rigid in what they say.
Actually, this money is, you are right with what you say, but this money is from what we've been told were nestled in the central bank. So it is, we received it.
Yeah, but then it needs some signatures for it to come out.
For it to actually move.
Yeah.
7
a.m. news time.
For the ongoing rains that continue to wreak havoc as they'll slowly give way to dry weather in most parts of the country starting next month. The weatherman says the dry, warmer weather isn't expected until the end of July. He, however, states that counties along the Ethiopia and Somalia borders could still suffer flooding because these countries will continue to be unusually wet. The forecast follows a 2-week onslaught of rains leading to floods that have killed more than 70 Kenyans and displaced thousands. We may also not experience the bitterly cold June-July weather as temperatures will remain warm. Now, rescue operations continue as 23 people are still missing after a private boat that was ferrying them to between Madogo and Garissa last evening capsized. The boat was ferrying people at a fee across the flooded section of the Madogo-Garissa road when the tragedy struck. A video seen from the incident showed several people on top of the capsized boat, with others who are trying to swim in order to save their lives. Elsewhere, Kenya Red Cross has evacuated 8 people to safety as floods continue to wreak havoc in Garissa. The 8 were marooned at Fast Farm in Bomola, Vumbi, Garissa Township, alongside several heads of livestock. And the humanitarian organization has added that its team was headed to another farm where 6 more people were reported to be marooned by flood waters. And still in flood matters, a dam in Old Kijabe has burst, sweeping through the nearby Maimahio town in Naivasha. Naivasha Deputy County Commissioner Mutua Kisilu has confirmed the incident, saying rescue operations are underway. Please keep safe during this flood season. Parents have one more week to prepare their children for back to school after the government postponed the scheduled school opening dates from today to next week on Monday. Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Mashogu said they have received data that some schools have been adversely affected by the ongoing floods. He said sending students and staff to the affected schools would be putting their lives at risk, hence the decision to postpone the reopening. The CS said his ministry will work with relevant agencies and stakeholders to put in place measures to mitigate the adverse effects of rains. He added that they'll also provide regular updates on all developments relating to the education sector. While the move comes after the National Parents Association had warned that the ongoing floods will adversely affect learning if school reopened today. And Kotu Secretary General Francis Tuoli says that Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka is the right candidate to succeed Azimio leader Raila Odinga. Speaking in Nairobi, Tuoli said this will ensure that the opposition remains strong if Raila happens to become the new African Union Commission chairperson. Tuoli further described Kalonzo as a respected leader who had good morals.
I know them all. With Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, he will be a diplomat, he will be able to reach out, those in the government and also those in the opposition, to narrow the gap for us to be in a position to move towards one direction for the purposes of development.
And dissenting opinions continue to be voiced over the push by government to have civil servants on contract terms as a way of addressing the ballooning wage bill. The proposal by Public Service Performance and Delivery Management Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria has met resistance, with various stakeholders warning the move is dangerous. Workers' unions as well as political players have criticized the move, even as the government claims its coffers are exhausted by salary demands. In Kakamega County, Deputy Governor Ayub Savula has also strongly disagreed with Kuria, saying it will affect the performance and growth of the economy.
Tangu independence, government employees wamekuwa kiandikwa permanent and pensionable. Hii story ya Mheshimiwa Kuria, waziri wa public service, ati wafanyikazi wa national government na county government waandikwe contract, hiyo haitawezekana hii Kenya. It will not happen. Kenyatta alituacha workers wakiwa permanent, pensionable. Moi akatuacha workers wakiwa permanent and pensionable. Kibaki akaacha wafanyikazi wakiwa permanent and pensionable.
That's the news wire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
All right, it's coming in hot on the Thika Superhighway this morning as you get past Garden City and then out towards that junction that connects with Outer Ring. It's also very busy then as you go all the way through Survey out towards Muranga Road. And it's also starting to dot as you get towards the Globe Cinema roundabout. There's a lot of traffic this morning then also coming off of Landis Road, and it's connecting onto Haile Selassie right through the Kamkunji roundabout. Uhuru Highway is already starting to pack up. Extended busyness on Kiambu Road as well as you come into the city. Let's take a quick look at what's coming out of Westlands, and there's some traffic as you then connect from James Gishuru touching on Wayaki Way this morning, but passable for now. Nothing much happening on the Red Hill Link Road. Make your way through towards Spring Valley and all these other areas without too much of a hiccup. Let's keep an eye on what happens as we're coming into traffic hour. We'll talk on SpiceFM, KE on X, hashtag the Situation Room.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Just one more day and April will be gone. On this penultimate day of April 2024, welcome to the second hour of Kenya's biggest conversation, The Situation Room. We're glad you're tuned in. We hope you're staying safe, and please always remember, listen to what the experts are saying. The Met experts are saying it's raining and it's gonna continue raining. Those that are involved in humanitarian activities from government, from the Red Cross and others are saying, please stay safe. There's something that's saying about a body of water. What are they saying?
So when you see a body of water and you're not sure of its depth, the best way to do this is to stay out of it. Don't get in. You don't know how raging the waters will be. You do not know how deep it is. And even something with little depth can actually take you out to the place whereby you will not be able to get out of it. So the safest option when you see a body of water is to stay out of it. You're better safe than sorry.
Indeed. Indeed. So welcome to this second hour. Showmax has a message for everybody who's tuned into us.
Indeed. Are you looking for the ultimate entertainment experience? Well, look no further than Showmax. Watch your favorite series, movies, and more on multiple devices in HD. HD is high definition. Stream on 2 screens or download content to save data. The Showmax Premier League plan offers live matches, highlights, and fan content on your mobile. Visit the website or download the Showmax app. Shika Showmax now.
Yeah. Now, our Constitution of Kenya 2010, Article 157, establishes the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. The Director of Public Prosecutions shall be nominated and will the approval of the National Assembly appointed by the President. This Director of Public Prosecutions shall have power to direct the Inspector General of the National Police Service to investigate any information or allegation of criminal conduct, and the Inspector General shall comply with any such direction. The DPP shall hold office for a term of 8 years, not eligible for reappointment. They have sufficient powers basically to take all criminal prosecution before court. This matter has even gone to court, and courts have been asked. So, but Your Honor, I am an investigator. If I investigate and the DPP is on the other side of town, can I just come to you? The courts have said, boss, go to the other side of town, get the DPP, let the DPP come to me. Sawa, Mr. Sawa. And the investigator has been told and said, yeah, Mr. Sawa. So since 2010, we have had 3 DPPs. Keriako Tobiko was the first one, Nurdin Haji was the second one, and now Renson Ingonga is the third DPP under the 2010 Constitution. He's our guest this hour in the Situation Room. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
You're quite fine.
Very good. Welcome to the hot seat of the Situation Room. Yes. How does it feel?
Quite okay.
Very good.
Yes.
You're used to hotter seats.
Yeah.
So what is this?
Yes.
This is just something small. We as the Director of Public Prosecutions, there's a lot that you deal with on a daily basis. We've had the pleasure of hosting your predecessor, and some of your senior officers here. And we've talked about the office of the DPP and what you do and what's expected of you by the public. But we shall continue with us because there are many issues to discuss today. To welcome you, though, to the conversation, the gentleman called C.T. Muga will give you the day's proverb. Every week, he goes to one African country, brings us proverbs, one a day. This week, which country are we in, C.T.?
We're in Algiers. I'd actually thought of coming to Kenya.
The country?
Algeria.
Thank you.
Yes, but you are the capital. Say, when you're in a country, unaanza na capital. Then unaeneza.
Okay.
Yes, I had actually planned to be in Kenya this week. But then I looked at the back and forth that we've had going from west to south. And we had just come from the middle of Africa. So I thought, Kenya is still around the middle of Africa, though it's in the east. Let me go back again to the north before I come back to the east.
Okay.
So now we're in Algeria.
Okay.
Okay. Cross the river, but don't cross the silent one.
Cross the river.
Yes.
But don't cross the silent one.
Yes.
But a DPP, what's your interpretation of this proverb?
From my early childhood days, we used to swim in the river. Yeah. And whenever you'll go to a river and find one place that is silent, it means it's too deep. So you wouldn't dare. You would only swim where water is running. And I believe that is what that proverb is trying to tell us. That if you see a silent one, just know it's dangerous. Don't try. Yeah.
What do you think the deeper meaning of this would be?
Just like what Ndu has told us a while ago. Any mass of water that you see, any body of water that you see, that you're not sure, don't cross it. Yeah, chances are that will be your end. I believe it gives you that that knowledge that anything that is silent, don't assume that a silent thing does not. It's like a dog.
Yeah.
If you find a dog that is not barking, don't assume that it cannot bite. In fact, the ones which are barking rarely bite. The silent ones are the ones which bite. That's what I can say.
Nice one. Asante. Now, your office is a constitutional office, right?
Yes.
And the Constitution is clear that nobody shall direct the DPP.
Yes.
But the Constitution gives the DPP powers to direct the IG of police to commence investigations and bring a file. And this is, looking at what's happening in the country and then say, there's something here, and I'd like you, Bona IG, to commence an investigation and let me know. And then you shall solely determine whether to take a matter before court. Does that hold 100% true that you don't get any direction from anybody?
It is true. I don't get any directions from anyone. The import of this was from the Constitution before 2010, where the prosecutor was a police officer who would get directions from the superiors. I happened to practice before that, even before joining public service, where the OCS, who was the senior most at that level, at the local level, and the prosecutor was a junior in the office of the CS. So when they decide that C.T. Muga must appear before court, the OCS would just call that prosecutor and tell him C.T. Muga must appear before, and he would appear. Yeah, because he has been directed, and he has to take orders as they come. That is what this Constitution sought to cure. Yeah, because many people suffered before then. Yeah. So it's sought to cure so that the person prosecuting is independent from the person investigating. So that before you go to court to prosecute, you must be satisfied that the file that is placed before you has sufficient evidence that can sustain a conviction. So that when you go into court, you are able to tell the court, I have this evidence. And from what I have, I can get a conviction. In the event that a file comes and you don't have sufficient evidence, you return it back to the investigator, either to close it if he cannot get. But where you think he has not covered some areas, you direct the investigator that, can you please go and cover this area, after which return the file back to the DPP for us to see through if whatever you'll have collected can warrant a conviction or us going to court.
So, Renson, you cannot get instructions.
I don't get instructions from anyone.
Can you get suggestions? I mean, we live in a country that has many moving parts.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So there may be some consideration here that is a political consideration or national security consideration that could then be brought to your office and onto your desk. And you're told, because of national security considerations, either don't proceed with this or expedite this.
Or hold on to it.
Or hold on to it for now. National security.
Yeah, unfortunately,
cohesion and peace of this country.
Unfortunately, I don't sit in the National Security Council. So maybe I may not have that chance of being directed. So it will be hard for me to be directed to do something that I don't know. Because it will not be easy for somebody to tell me that, in the national security, we discussed it. How sure am I? Yeah, so that I go with it. So I will not go with it. I'll go with the evidence that is available. Yeah, because at the end of the day, when I go to court and either get a conviction or an acquittal, it'll be the DPP. There'll be no way you'll say, I was directed by so-and-so. Yeah, so it solely depends on me to go to court or not to go to court. And we will only go to court where there is sufficient evidence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does it also solely depend on you to withdraw a case from court? Is it a decision at your office or at the behest of your office to say, for circumstance 1, 2, 3, I will then withdraw this, and there's no external influence or suggestion for that particular action?
Yeah, withdrawal of cases, there are so many circumstances. And I would start with the first one. When a matter is before court, during trial, you may encounter some information or some evidence from the defense that was not available at the time you're making the decision to charge. And at that point in time, you'll need to go back and review your case. Because if you get that evidence and you are sure, if the defense has this kind of evidence, then however much I'll do, this will lead to an acquittal. It will force you to review and withdraw that case. The other circumstances where witnesses lose interest in a case. You can find a star witness, the main witness in a case, decides to withdraw from a case so that you remain with nothing. Yeah. And in those circumstances, again, you'll be forced to withdraw. We have circumstances where some witnesses die. You can find your star witness has died. If a witness dies, it will then also force you to relook into your case and withdraw. Again, we also have circumstances. In cases we have complainants. If a complainant during trial decides, no, I have no interest in this case, I have reconciled with the suspect, I don't want us to proceed. You cannot force yourself to proceed. Yeah? Because they'll give you reasons to why they have decided not to proceed with the case. In those circumstances, you'll be forced to review your case and withdraw. We also have cases where you may have charged somebody. The circumstances under which you approved the charges have now shifted after some time, maybe due to public interest. Some things have changed. In those circumstances, again, you'll be forced to review and withdraw.
Okay. Can I take you back just a little bit? Okay. One of the things that you said as we started out was that the only time the DPP will take a case to court is when the evidence is so tight that you are sure it will secure a conviction. So you will not present a case to court unless there is absolute surety that the evidence that has been presented will grant you this thing that you're looking for. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. There have been a number of cases that have been withdrawn recently until I believe it was Justice Sifuna who said, this is becoming, and I believe the word that was used was unorthodox practice by the DPP. And there was even a case, or rather there was a request request to withdraw the case, which was denied. And he said, no, we cannot continue like this. Yes. And the reason that was given by the DPP, your office, was that the evidence was weak. So now I'm confused. If the only time the DPP can take a case to court is if the evidence is so strong that you are sure it will deliver a conviction, why would you come later and say the same evidence of which you are so sure of is then weak? How would that happen?
Yeah, thank you. I have just said that circumstances keep on changing during trial. Yeah? And where we say evidence is weak, you realize that maybe one of the witnesses has backed off. And that's the main witness. That is, when you go to court, you tell the court the evidence is weak. You don't tell the court witnesses have backed off. Yeah? You cannot tell the court that witness 1, witness 2 have backed off. You'll go to, because you already know. You'll go to court and say, the evidence that I have at the moment is weak. Yeah?
Is the judicial officer at present, at that time, is he or she meant to be aware of the details of this weak evidence?
No. They're not meant to be aware. You just tell them that evidence is weak or you don't have witnesses. Yeah? And let me go back to what you said about Justice Sifuna. Maybe if you're following on what is going on, almost all those decisions by Sifuna, we have appealed. We have moved to the Court of Appeal. And last week, the Court of Appeal overturned one of those decisions by Justice Sifuna, where we had sought, in the Lake Basin Development Authority case, where we had sought to withdraw, and the magistrate denied us that opportunity. We went to Justice Sifuna for revision. He again agreed with the magistrate. We moved to the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal has overturned that decision and clearly stated that the DPP had the sole mandate to withdraw or bring cases to court. Yeah? So it is not like what has happened in the law courts. That is the finality. If we agree with any of those decisions, we move to the next level. And the Constitution is very clear. Yeah, and there's no one else who can go against the Constitution. Yeah, whether a court, whether what. Yeah, that's why Article 157, 7 and 8, subsection 7 and 8 is very clear on the mandate of the DPP. And the DPP can withdraw any case before judgment, before judgment, although with the permission of them, but at any stage before judgment.
You can apply.
The only difference is if the DPP applied to withdraw a case when he has closed his case is at the defense stage, then the suspect will be acquitted. That's the only deal. But the DPP cannot be denied before judgment. As long as the court has not pronounced itself, then the DPP has authority to withdraw that particular case.
What we've seen from the anti-corruption courts, and particularly Magistrate Esther Maina, has been, her expressing frustration at the prosecution, saying, prosecution, you brought this case before me a couple of years ago. You started this case. In some instances, she says, you brought in witnesses. You did not even cross-examine your own witnesses. You did not even examine your own witnesses. And then now here you are applying for withdrawal of this case. And she says, I cannot stop you from withdrawing the cases, but this is a waste of public resources, waste of this court's time, waste of these human beings who have been paraded as corrupt. What do you respond to that? Because she has raised that matter.
Yeah, let me correct you. It is not Esther Maina, it is... it was Eunice Newton. Esther Maina is a judge.
It was Eunice Newton, yes.
How did it come to be? We sought permission, or we made an application to the court to withdraw that particular case. She declined. We appealed. We went to Justice Sifuna, who agreed with her. Meanwhile, there was no stay of our orders. What did she do? While in court, when the matter came up for hearing, she issues warrants of arrest against our witnesses who are public servants. And see it on on radio. It was in the media.
It was.
As any public servant, there's no public servant who wants to be arrested. None. They all ran to court because they've seen it. That you have been summoned, warrants have been arrested, you are supposed to be in court. So they ran to court. Yeah? When they came to court, they are not our witness at that moment. We have not called them. So who called them? It was the magistrate. Then we decided, let her proceed with it. She's the one who put those witnesses to the dock. We didn't have any questions for them. That's why we didn't question them. We didn't call them. But you can never put a witness in the witness box if one, you have not called that witness. Even if it's on record, you have not called that witness. You have not prepared that witness. It doesn't move like that.
Why had you not called the witnesses, DPP?
We wanted to withdraw. There was a weak link in our case. And you see the witnesses who are called, those are not the witnesses who are supposed to be the main witness in our case. These were just public servants.
Okay.
Just confirm one or two things. But the main witnesses were not them. Yeah.
What was a weak link?
Is it something you can talk about?
Not everything that we have, we can be on air and talk about.
Of course.
Yes. Yeah. But just under that, there was
in the course of prosecution of a case,
yes,
you assess and you find, well, not as strong as we thought it would be.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And you go to the court and you say, our case is not looking like it was looking.
Yeah.
And this is after how many years?
This after maybe 5 years, 4 years, 4 or 5
And
years.
those are the questions that then come even to the public, and we ask ourselves, 5 years into a case, when you were going to court, you said, I swear, who you? Ndani.
Yes.
Evidence.
And then 5 years later, you're like, actually what we thought to be is not as strong as we thought to be.
Yes.
If it was an isolated case, we could say, you know what, sometimes you may have looked at evidence and you thought this was it, but this was not it.
Yes.
But DPP, this is not isolated cases. We have seen a series of cases being withdrawn, one after the other, on account of that, on what we thought would be the strong case was not strong case. We expected the investigator to give us more information in the course of the prosecution. The investigator has not given us more information. So it just exposes your office to questions of competence.
Yeah, unfortunately, the narrative that you are trying to get is not the right narrative. Let me go back. How many cases do we withdraw in Kenya per day? You may not know. It's only that one isolated case that you see in Milimani. Now, that is the case you think we are withdrawing. We withdraw cases even today. If you go in all our courts in Kenya, which are many, there are withdrawals of every person. It doesn't have to be that senior person. Even that petty, we withdraw. But you will never see anyone reporting that we withdraw a case of assault, a case of stealing 200 shillings. Yeah. We withdraw, and the circumstances are the same. Unfortunately, I was talking to a friend and I was telling him that when you withdraw a case against a small person, we say, now, we knew there was no evidence. We just knew he would withdraw. There's no one who's saying, why have they withdrawn a case against this small person? But when it is a high-profile person or a senior officer or a public figure, we believe that one we should not withdraw. It is not the case. Because the law is the same. The circumstances are the same. We withdraw against all persons in this country every single day. Yeah? If I had chance, by the close of today, I would give you the withdrawals that we would have done in the whole country today. There are many. And chances are that you will not see any. Did you see any on Friday?
No.
Yeah. And you think on Friday we didn't withdraw?
I'm sure you did.
We did.
And from what you're saying.
Yeah.
But then that begs the question.
Yes.
How
I had not finished.
Oh,
let me finish.
I apologize.
Yeah.
Yes.
You said 4 to 5 cases, the 5 years. Why has the case stayed in court for 4 or 5 years? Do you think it's a prosecution only? Why? How many actors are there in a case? How many? In any case before court? How many actors? It is not a prosecution only. So the person who has caused the case to delay for 4 years may not be the prosecutor. Yeah. And maybe those circumstances that are leading to the prosecutor today saying, I want to, they are the same that were there, only that they are not being granted. And by the way, we have so many, even in those high profile cases, if you go to the record, you realize there are so many instances where we have sought to even withdraw, but we were not granted, only that it was not highlighted. Yeah. But now somebody has an interest, that's why you see it in the media. Because in most cases, I'm sorry to say, in most cases, media is also driven by people.
Would somebody have an interest in all the high-profile cases that have been withdrawn by the Office of the DPP so as to go and highlight it in the media? Every single high-profile case that has been withdrawn by the DPP, are you saying that that can be connected to an interest that somebody has to shed light on it?
By the way, not all high-profile cases were withdrawn.
Of the ones that have been withdrawn, that
I want to change the narrative. That all high-profile cases are highlighted. They're not.
No.
There's saying one or two.
I'm sorry,
highlighted.
I'm sorry, DPP. I'm coming off of what you've just said, and you said that the reason why these are highlighted is because somebody has a personal interest. So I'm asking, is that of the ones that have been highlighted, and we've seen a number of them, are we saying that this can be linked to somebody's personal interest, and that is what gives rise to the highlighting?
Some of them, because what happens is this. In most of these cases, we have suspects, we have complainants. The DPP may not know them. You, even media, may not know who they are. They have others use courts to settle personal scores. So when he realizes maybe somebody, I may not know who it is, who realizes that a matter against Ndu is going to be withdrawn. And me and Ndu, we are not friends. What do? Let me go and highlight so that it's not withdrawn. Because some of them push that agenda so that the DPP can
feel the pressure.
Can withdraw its application. Because of the public pressure. Some do that. And I can tell you, when we make a decision to withdraw, with or without public pressure, we proceed with that application. Because I always say, if I have made a decision and I believe that's the right decision, even with pressure, we'll proceed on the way
You'll stick to your decision.
Yes.
City, ask the question before we take a break.
Yes, the Office of the Deputy Prosecution
Director of Public Prosecution.
Director of, there's a problem of age. Me, I'm still...
You're still with the Deputy Public Prosecutor.
Yes, you are a consumer of work that has been conducted by a different body.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Now, given that what you are provided with is what sometimes fault is found with, I have to ask the question, if there are so many, and then there are so many withdrawals, in time, I'm sure your office has wondered, why is it that cases are brought to us when probably the very people who have investigated and brought it know exactly what you eventually conclude? Or are we saying they don't know, that they bring these cases in good faith, and then it later turns out that the cases were really not well prepared or well researched or well investigated?
I wanted to talk about it in challenges we face, but now you brought it now. Let me use that as one of the challenges. One of the challenges we face as prosecution is evidence that is not wholesome. Because at times, an investigator may do investigations with one motive, to charge Muga. So if he has that motive to charge Muga, he'll only collect evidence that will incriminate you. So that if there is evidence that you can use in your defense, it will not be collected.
It will not feature.
Yeah, it will not feature. So when I get the file, all the evidence I have is very good evidence to charge Muga. And we can get a conviction with this evidence. But during trial, you realize what Muga is now bringing out is something that will lead to an acquittal. How come it was not there? You go back to the drawing board. And when you ask the investigator, for sure he'll tell you this evidence was there, but maybe we didn't realize it was important. Maybe it's an omission. So you realize that if you had that kind of evidence at the onset, you wouldn't have charged this person. That's why, as the office, we have devised ways where we use prosecution guided or led investigations, mostly in high profile cases. so that we move with the investigator. Yeah? So that if we want to charge Muga with this, we are able to tell the investigator, if we want this, can you get this? Get this, get this. So that by the time we conclude, we are all on the same page. We have all the evidence. Yeah? Because at that point, we'll even ask the investigator, if the evidence you have collected for us to use against this suspect, chances are that the likely defense is this one. Have you checked this? So that we know that will not be his defense. Have you checked this? Have you checked this? Yeah? So that if that is there, you realize in those kind of cases, then we don't charge. We close the files because we know we'll not sustain any conviction. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's take a break. We'll continue the conversation shortly. It's 24 minutes to 8. Renson Ingonga is the Director of Public Prosecutions. He's our guest this morning. We are talking about the work of the ODPP, what they do, what we see from the public side as what they do, and trying to marry those two. Is it what they do and what we see them doing? Are they the same thing? We'll continue with this shortly. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Lights. Digger. Action. Shopping smart and saving big only happens in your city. Huge savings at the first ever Sarit Mega Sale happening April 27th to 30th at Sarit Expo. Enjoy jaw-dropping discounts of up to 70% on your favorite brands. It's the shopping event of the year at Sarit, the ultimate retail destination in Eastern Central Africa. Earn and redeem points with the Sarit Loyalty app, available on Google and Apple Store, and enjoy the convenience of prepaid parking and gift vouchers. Visit SaritYourCity.com for details. Shop smart and save big. Only at Sarit, your city. Do you have the passion, the interest to tell a story to the world in your own style? Well, we're ready to take you in and help you grow your talents in the media industry. The Standard Group, in partnership with Talanta Institute, is offering a media training and incubation program courtesy of Standard Talanta Academy, where we nurture and guide industry talents on an array of topics from writing, reporting, media law and ethics, investigative journalism and research to the Kenya Copyright Board, Kenya Film Commission and the Kenya Films and Classification Board legal frameworks. To apply to the Standard Talanta Academy for our upcoming May intake, visit www.talanta.ac.ke or call 0724 468 468. The Standard Talanta Academy. Experience the vibrant pulse of Africa at Festac Africa Festival 2024 in Kisumu. Join us for a week-long celebration of culture, music, fashion, and more from May 20th to 26th. Dive into sustainable growth with food, art, education, and youth empowerment. Don't miss Africa's premier Pan-African and global cultural exchange program. Get your tickets now. One day for 500 Kenya shillings or the full week for 2,000 Kenya shillings. Kisumu County welcomes the world to be part of Africa's...
In Nairobi this morning, we'll see highs of 25 and lows of 16. Partly sunny at 16 with lows of 15 in Nakuru, and we'll see lows of 16 in a sunny Nyeri at 16. Going to highs of 23, we'll see mostly cloudy conditions in Eldoret this morning at 15. And looking into Mombasa, it's partly sunny at 26 with highs of 32. We'll see highs of 31 in a partly sunny Malindi currently at 27, coming down to lows of 26. And we're looking into a sunny Kisumu at 22 with highs of 27 and highs of 27 in a sunny Kakamega as well. Okay, looking into Kampala, it's sunny at 21 with highs of 26, and we'll see highs of 31 in a sunny Dar es Salaam at 24. Into a mostly sunny Johannesburg at 10, we'll see highs of 22, and Mogadishu is cloudy at 27 with highs of 32. It's 16 at and cloudy in Addis Ababa with highs of 22 and lows of 14, and we'll see highs of 34 in a partly cloudy Lagos, going to highs of 34 and highs of 34 in a clear Kinshasa at 24.
.5 SpiceFM, Kisumu.
Okay, so busy in the city this morning, coming in heavy on the Thika Superhighway all the way through towards Survey. And then we're seeing quite some traffic. Really doesn't matter where you look, coming out of Westlands and then getting onto Huru Highway, from the Nyayo Stadium roundabout, City Stadium, coming off of Jago Road, connecting to Landis. And off the Thika Superhighway, it's busy. And also coming off of Kiambu Road, very, very busy as well. We're going to see this as we're getting into traffic hour proper now. Let's keep an eye on things and talk on SpiceFM KE on X. Hashtag the Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
20 minutes to go. Our conversation with the DPP, Renson Ingonga, continues. He's a man who was promoted from within the office of the DPP to take up this position. He has worked in the justice system for very many years. DPP, as we were taking the break, you were telling us among the challenges that you face as you're going to court is looking at what is presented to you by the prosecutor, and by the investigator, whether it's from the DCI or from the EACC or any other of the investigative agencies. But then I also remember of the decision to charge protocols that your office established. In fact, we hosted one of the senior officers from the DPP's office. I think it was Alexander Muteti, who came in and he took us through them and basically shows that there's a criteria that the DPP has set up and agreed with the investigators that before I decide I'm going to court, you must meet a very high threshold, and that as prosecutors we must be properly convinced that we have sufficient evidence to go to court, that we have looked at all angles before going to court, whether it's something that you missed or something that you did not miss. So with this decision to charge, since you actually established the decision to charge, have you withdrawn any matter that has gone to court since then?
It is good that you have reminded me about the decision to charge guidelines. Unfortunately, almost all these cases we are talking about, all profiles that we are withdrawing, were placed before court before the decision to charge guidelines. In fact, the DTC is the one that is making us withdraw some of these cases. Yeah, because we realized at that time we didn't have a guideline. We didn't have something to use to check whatever that's going before to court. So with the decision to charge guidelines, we have been able to review so many cases, not only this, all of them, many cases. And we realized our mistakes that we are making since we didn't have the guidelines. But ever since we got the guidelines, there are no cases we have withdrawn based on the evidence that we presented before court. The only cases where we are saying circumstances change in court, not in the decision we made. No, the circumstances change. When they change, then we are now forced to make application to withdraw. Like one of the circumstances where witnesses give contradictory evidence, and it happens. So that we realize you thought these witnesses were credible witnesses who would give consistent evidence. But we realize witnesses giving contradictory evidence. The moment they give contradictory evidence, then you'll be forced to go back to the drawing board. And again, there is one thing that I want to enlighten Kenyans. That withdraw saves the taxpayer Kenyans a lot of money in damages. Because when the DPP realizes that this case will lead to an acquittal, and it means an acquittal under Section 210, where the court says there was no evidence whatsoever, you ought not to have come to court in the first place. When such a person is acquitted, and these are high profile, so their status in society are very high. So when they claim damages, when they now move the civil court for damages, you can be sure it is in millions because of their status in society. So we make the decision to withdraw to save the taxpayer that kind of money. Because the moment you withdraw, then they cannot proceed with the malicious prosecution. Because even if they tried, then they would not be awarded. So Kenyans must also understand that some of these cases, they're meant to save the taxpayer lots of money. It is not just withdrawal.
Okay. What is your relationship with the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission? How do you work together with them?
our relationship is very good.
Okay.
Yeah, we're working very well. When I came in as a DPP, in one of my agenda was collaboration with all stakeholders. Because without collaboration, then you will not be able to move. I've even talked about prosecution led or guided. If you don't have collaboration, how will you then have those kind of investigations? Yeah. We have had meetings with all investigators, EACC, DCI, KRA, and many of these investigative agencies.
Okay.
And we have agreed to work as one, so that this rift that you normally that used to be that was there at one point, because I remember
So
there was a
one.
time
Yeah.
there was a rift between DCI and ODPP,
especially over the same issue that we're talking about, the
Yeah.
withdrawal of
Yes,
cases.
yeah.
So in terms of the mechanics of things, of how
Yes.
it works, who does what first and then who brings it to the other? How does that cycle work?
As it is, it is the investigator who does first.
Okay.
Yeah. The law, as it were, it was envisaged that the DPP, where you realize there's something going on and maybe the investigator is not doing anything, the DPP can direct for investigation to be carried out. But more often than not, the investigator does they start investigating without the knowledge of the DPP, because that's their work. So when an investigator does investigations, when they feel they have completed investigations, they will then forward the file to the DPP. At that point is when the DPP reviews that file, checks to see if there is sufficient evidence to warrant any charging, or to direct the investigator to cover more areas. So that's what happens. It will come to the DPP, will review, and again, the review, we must also understand that under the ODPP Act, the review of cases is continuous. Yeah, you know, there is this notion that the moment the DPP goes to court, that's the end. You must prosecute to the end. No. Cases are always under review, constantly, even when they're active in court.
Right.
So that if you realize that it's something that was not there, or something has come up that is new, that you didn't see at the onset, then it will warrant the DPP to review his decision to charge. So there are so many accounts that can lead to that. It's not that the moment we have taken to court, then we were satisfied, nothing. Yes, we were satisfied with what was there at that moment. But as we proceeded with the trial, new things came up. New evidence that came up, either through our witnesses. You know, at times a witness can record a statement. But when you put that witness in, unfortunately, the prosecutor is not the one who records his statement. It is the investigator. Yeah? You don't know the circumstances under which the witness recorded, but you believe
that they were not
that is the evidence. So when you put this witness in the dock, you realize he will bring up issues that were not in the evidence. Very different from what was there. Then you realize, if this is what this witness is saying, then this case, So you are forced. In fact, in some circumstances, you stand down the witness, because you realize it's not going the direction you thought.
But that shows that you had not prepared your witness.
Let me tell you, some witnesses, let me tell you something. You will sit with the witness in the conference room, and you'll take, first of all, you take the witness through the statement he has written. Believing that's the evidence, and they'll stick to that evidence, what is there, they'll stick to it. But now when you get in the dock, they change. Because you cannot, when a witness is testifying, you don't give him the script to read. You don't. Yeah? But when you are preparing him, you go through the statement, because that's what you know. You are not the one who collected the evidence. But now when he gets into the dock, he changes completely, adds things that were not, even when you had a pre-trial, he never talked about them. You can even probe some and they don't talk about it. But when they come to the witness stand, they bring up completely different things. So then you realize, if I proceed with this witness, this is an acquittal. And maybe that was your star witness.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you have to do something about it at that point.
Yes. Either you stand him down, take another date, go and talk to him to find out what it is. Yeah. So you realize either he's lost it, or that was the evidence. But he'll tell you, some even say, this is what I told the investigator. I'm not the one who wrote this evidence, this statement. I was just told to sign.
It's interesting that we're dealing with issues of the courts here, because then the court of public opinion is actually one of the most brutal and harshest courts I'm sure you can imagine.
Yes.
And the one thing that you did mention is that for the sake of the public interest, where Kenyans are asking questions about essentially what should or should not happen. And one of the issues in the court of public opinion is that we see the dropping of a lot of these high-profile cases because there's an external hand in all of this. How would you disabuse that notion today and say, actually, it's based on what we can or cannot present, and not necessarily that there are external hands playing in this process?
Unfortunately, the so-called high-profile cases, the evidence in some of them is not good enough. And you must understand that for the prosecutor to go to court, you don't really need to have all the evidence. You can have evidence that you believe this is enough evidence for me
to start a case.
Yes, to start. And in some of the cases, I can tell you, in some of the cases, we have gone to court previously. Yeah, we have gone to court with the assurance from the from the investigator that we have done 80%. I think we only have the 20%, which we will bring before the trial. Yeah, because again, you are supposed to supply this evidence to the defense before the beginning of the trial. So you go to court, sure that this remaining part will be supplied. But somehow you realize it is not supplied. And it's so crucial. That will be the defense of the so-called high profile. And I've told you, these are not cases that you can play around with. Because an acquittal will be so big than what these withdrawal people are talking about. Yeah? Because what will happen after an acquittal, it will be in media. The same media. This guy has been awarded 1 billion. The same. And the DPP is the one who went to court. It means he did a shoddy job. Why was this person acquitted? And yet, when the DPP realized that I don't have sufficient evidence, he went to court to withdraw, to avoid this loss. Because already we are saying, we have brought these people to court because we have lost money. That's what you're saying. Instead of recovering, now you're losing even bigger.
You see, the DPP, you see, what happens, and this is when now the court of public opinion then comes in, is in the initial stages as you were going to court, you came and told the public, I have evidence against, we're using City Muga today, he's our example. I have evidence, I'm the chief I have evidence against City Muga. He misappropriated public funds, he abused office, abused public trust, and all those other things. And in fact, the way he's been living off the sweat of the poor people of this country. I'm going to court. 5 years later, you withdraw the charges. You don't come back to the public and say, here is a public statement. City Muga, by the way, I do not know whether he stole. You know, in those 5 years, all we know is that City Muga is a thug, is the biggest thug. And to avoid the court telling you, no, City Muga is the biggest thug, you have withdrawn the case. Okay? You end up having damaged City's reputation. He has nothing against you. He can't take you because he has not gotten his acquittal. But in the public opinion, you have basically damaged this man. I always talk about it here. I talk about the children. City's children, when you arrested him in the middle of the night, went through trauma. When they went to school for the next several months, they went through trauma of the fellow children in school saying, Baba yako ni mwizi hivyo. We did not know this. What do we do about that? Because I want to read this. Article 157, 11, it says, in exercising the powers conferred by this article, the Director of Public Prosecution shall have regard to the public interests, the interests of the administration of justice, and the need to prevent and avoid abuse of the legal process. Some of these withdrawals when a DPP are put to you actually go against this. An abuse of the legal process. You don't go through fair administration of justice, and in public interest, in the end, if you went to court convinced that this man has stolen from us, the man is still eating our money.
In the last part, subsection 11, you have talked about three things.
Yes.
And it doesn't mean when the DPP want to make a withdrawal, he has to have those three. It is any of those three. Any. The moment there's any of those three, then the DPP will proceed to withdraw. You have talked about an abuse of the court process. That is what, in most cases, we try to avoid. An abuse because we have charged Muga and realized that there is no sufficient evidence. For us to stop an abuse of the court process, that's why we are making an application to withdraw. Because that abuse is the one that will be used against the state for malicious prosecution. Yeah. That's why we go back and say this. And again, I've said here and again that in most cases, circumstances that lead to us making application to withdraw, there are things which come after, way after.
And they're beyond you.
Yeah. Way after we have charged this person. Because those circumstances, if they were there at the onset, we wouldn't have charged. Yeah?
Okay.
Yeah, we wouldn't have charged.
I want to ask another question before we conclude because we are running out of time.
Yes.
Shakahola.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Public interest, this has been in the public domain for a long time. Finally, we've seen that you're making moves towards prosecution.
Yes.
But, Bwana DPP, charging people with 100 and how many counts?
129.
Of murder, of torture, of... Surely, even the former Chief Justice Emeritus David Maraga, talked about this to the DPP and said, you cannot bring one case that has so many charges, so many accused persons, and you expect that we are going to expeditiously deal with this case. In this particular one, you are charging how many people? 98 people?
Yes, with 129.
With each of them having 129 charges of murder, of torture, of this, of terrorism.
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy that you know the charges.
We imagined that it would take weeks just to read the charges.
Yeah. One thing is, I'm happy you know the charges. And you can be sure. That's what I normally say. I was also talking to a friend and telling a friend that the unfortunate part about journalists is that they report that is not true for it to sell. They don't go for the truth. When I was still prosecuting actively in the before I became the DPP, you would go to court with a journalist, sit through the whole trial, and finish. What you see in the media the following day is different from. And this, I would call him. Surely, I was with you in court. Is this what happened? If you didn't understand, I was there. Did you ask him? Even the court file was there. You would read. They don't stop you. Why would you write? So I'm going back to what you're saying. The truth is, there are those many charges, but they're not in one charge sheet. They're not. They're all in different charge sheets. Different. Because you must get to know that these same people committed all those offenses against different people. So they're not in one charge sheet. You cannot have over 12 in one charge sheet.
So they're different. They're different cases.
Yeah, different cases. It's not one.
Against the
it's
same
only
people.
that against the same people.
Over the same matter.
Yes, not over the same matter, but no. How do I say it?
Over the different angles of the same matter.
Because you see, there is the torture.
Yeah,
the people are tortured. Yeah. We are those who have survived. They are tortured. There are those who were killed. There are those small children. So that they're the same people who are doing to different people. Yeah, some were killed, some were tortured, some are small children. Yeah, so you'll charge the same person for torture, for murder, for abuse of.
But must you charge all people with all the charges? Are you at some point, DPP, going to start dropping charges against some people? So you say, Eric, I only want to retain the charge of torture.
No, we'll not drop.
Murder.
In Shakahola, we'll not. Because they perform different things against different people. The same people. They are the same people. Yeah, that's why they're different. And if you see, we have cases in Shansu, we have cases in Malindi, we have cases in Tononoka. The same people. That's why, even as you're saying, all these cases you're talking about are not in one court. They are in different courts. For those dealing with children are all in Tononoka. Yeah. Where they killed is in Malindi. Where the abuse is in Shansu. They're all different. They're not in one court. Because they're different charges. Yeah? It doesn't mean when you, Eric, as one person, you commit crimes against the three of us who are here, then we will charge you for only one. We will charge you for having done for each and every person differently. Yeah, you cannot assume, since Eric did the same thing to these three people, let him just charge him with one.
Then the concern is, will these cases ever come to an end? I mean, how long will it take for us to go through all the rigors of the court to actually find justice over Shakahola? Or it doesn't matter?
No, let me tell you one thing. If the courts extradite, we will move. Because we're already in court, plea has already been taken. And unfortunately, members of the public or media, they do not look at the circumstances under which a case does not proceed. Because you realize, even to get where we are, we have all been delayed by the defense, all through. Look at the last time we were in court, last week. The defense, the defense were not ready to proceed. Because they were saying now that our lawyer is not there. But the court was firm. Because they knew and everything. The court was firm and said, no, this time around, you must proceed. Yeah? If the courts move and we move at the speed at which we are, these cases can be concluded within this year. Yeah. Okay. But the defense will always delay. And let me tell you something. Before I joined public service, I used to act as a defense lawyer. What do defense lawyers do?
Tell us.
If the defense lawyer, the moment they realize the prosecution has a strong case, they will never be ready to proceed. And let me tell you, there can be so many reasons you can give to the court, and plausible, and the court will agree with you. For whatever reason, the defense lawyer is not in court. The suspect will say, my lawyer is not here. And the reason will be given, whatever reason, it will be adjourned, because this suspect has a right to a lawyer and our laws. So you'll adjourn. At the next year, especially where we have many, at the next hearing, the suspect is unwell. You will not proceed. At the next hearing, the magistrate maybe is not there. And for information, the unfortunate part is, when a case is adjourned today, and the court's diaries are in September, that's where you'll get a date. So I'm saying today, the defense lawyer was not there. We were given September. Come September, the suspect is unwell. We now get in 2025 May. When will we ever proceed? So we must look at the circumstances under which a case is not proceeding, not necessarily the prosecution. Well, prosecution is always ready. Yeah. So we must look at it wholesomely. What is happening? Why are we not proceeding? But if we proceed, or if we had early dates, then most of these cases can be concluded very fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
DPP, thank you very much for joining us today. Renson Ingonga is the Director of Public Prosecutions in the Republic of Kenya. He's been our guest this morning, seeking to understand the work of the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. 3 minutes after 8. Good morning.
Spice up your life.
It's critical that people pay taxes. But then taxation has to have a limit. When you start overtaxing people beyond certain limit, then this is now we call robbery with violence.
We are all struggling, but we don't show. If you're not doing well, shame on you. But you have to say, I'm broke and I'm struggling. We are not okay until everybody is okay.
We are pretending to have political parties. Why don't we just be honest? And we say, these are the Luyas, these are the Kambas, these are the Kikuyus, and we find ourselves in Kenya.
You know, with politics and leadership, no matter what you do, there will always be a complaint. There will always be the assumption that you're either stealing or you're not doing things right. As a leader, don't fear. If you know you're doing the right thing, you've thought about it, you've got an expert advice, do it, then understand later.
This country, we don't need prayers. Prayers is between you and God. Good governance and thinkers who care about the country and not their stomach.
That's what we need.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
102.5 SpiceFM, Kisumu.
Okay, so where are we at? A few minutes after 8 o'clock. Traffic still doing the rounds in the city, and we're looking at it heavy coming off a thicker superhighway, but not all parts. Just as you get towards Survey and then out towards Muranga Road on one side or Wangari Maathai on the other. It's heavy on Limuru Road, and that's coming in. It's also heavy on Kiambu Road today. We're looking at traffic then coming in Lower Kabete, Spring Valley, that whole area. James Gishuru in and outbound is quite busy, but we're looking at outbound traffic then heading back into the direction of Lavington. Also, what's coming off of Nzima Springs and then joining with Waikiwe at some point. Like we said, Lower Kabete, heavy traffic heading out towards Spring Valley. But then as you head out into the direction of Red Hill, you won't be doing too badly. But then Limuru is going to come and connect with that. And then it's heavy coming out of Parklands. Heavy on the Globe Cinema roundabout, that's very heavy, and also Jogo Road heavy as well. Aerodrome Road is now open, but it's heavy then connecting onto Uhuru Highway. Let's keep an eye on things and see how it progresses through the morning. SpiceFM, KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start
On to the start of The Situation Room at 7 minutes, coming up to 8 minutes after 8. This is the final Monday of April 2024. Like that, hey.
We said it.
Where?
Speed test.
These days, Buana, they just move and move.
They do.
And move and move.
And don't they just?
Oh, yes. As the days are moving like this, and you're sitting at home and maybe just looking at the rain and it's raining. Somebody has just said, a time like this a year ago, we were praying for rain.
Indeed.
We were.
And here we are now. There's just too much rain. I mean, it's just from one extreme to the other. However, we had been warned by experts that, after that prolonged drought, the next thing that you expect is excessive rainfall and flooding. Easy flooding. Here we are.
It's true. Look, I think that one of the messages can be at this point that, look, like we've been saying, this rain that we see, the deluge, the destruction, the extra inches of rainfall, etc., it will come to an end. We know this just by geographical patterns. It will come to an end. My hope and my desire is that there will be adequate comprehension of this idea. And that plans will be made for the future. It would have been now that we were making those plans. Because what follows one extreme is another extreme. We know this. What are we doing about it? What are we doing about it?
Are we preparing? Are we not? Are we just going the motions? Maybe we're just going the motions. And that's a very unfortunate thing. Showmax has a message.
This is a message. Upgrade your viewing experience with Showmax. Choose from the entertainment plans for multiple devices or mobile only. Stream series, movies, and more in HD. Download content for offline viewing. Imagine, you can download it so you can watch it later. If you're in a place where you can get it because you're on Wi-Fi, whatever, download it and then go where you don't have data. You can watch it later. Hey!
So you can download and then you can watch offline.
Exactly. It's fantastic stuff, I'm telling you.
You're doing a road trip like this, you spend the night just downloading the next day.
Hoping you're not the one driving in this road trip.
Watch, even if you're the one driving, so stop
Put it
somewhere.
on your dash cam. Okay. The Showmax Premier League also is a plan that brings you live matches. It brings you highlights and fan content to your mobile phone. You don't have to wait until you're in front of the TV to get this done. www.showmax.com. Sign up on the website or the Showmax app. And what if you want to enjoy entertainment at your fingertips whenever you want it, wherever you want it? Do what? Shika Showmax.
Hey, Margaret is saying it's also raining in Texas and they've been warned of tornadoes. But there, the difference is that the state is prepared.
Tornado ndio gani?
Tornado ni ile inakuja na maji mingi na wind.
Hiyo. Hapa ni maji tu, hakuna wind.
Hapa ni maji kwa wingi. A task force. Multi-agency, multi-stakeholder.
Multi-agency stakeholder task force.
Formed.
Yes.
Okay.
You too. Manini guesswork. What's that thing called again?
Apana, I'm telling you, that's why it's so confusing, because there are many words in the title.
Multi-agency
stakeholder task
force.
Okay.
I think there's a disaster in there somewhere.
And flooding.
Well,
to talk about floods, we have brought City's MP, the Honorable Beatrice Alachi, to tell us the situation on the ground. Uliitwa na huyu jamaa mvua mingi. The MP for Dagoretti North Constituency, Beatrice Alachi, is our guest. Good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
I'm fine.
How are you?
We're good. We are holding it.
Under the circumstances?
Yes. Yeah.
Your constituent here,
yeah.
At least is fine.
He's dry.
At least he's dry.
This morning.
He's one of those who are dry. I'm sure there are many of your constituents who would not say the same thing.
Oh, yes.
And we'd like to hear about it this morning. You know, we'd like to know what's happening. Yeah, ni kubaya bwana.
Walikipata-pata.
Ni kubaya. Anyway, City.
Yes.
Why don't you welcome your MP with the day's proverb?
Today we have a proverb with this. The proverb is just the multi-sector. That should be the proverb.
Multi-sector, multi-stakeholder, agency, task force. City, where are the proverbs from this week?
From the country of Algeria.
Algeria,
yes.
You said you'll tell us something or two about this country. The capital?
It's Algiers.
The president?
No, let's talk about the sort of political system they have and the parliamentary system they have.
Okay.
Because this is always interesting.
Okay.
It's called a semi-constitutional parliamentary system.
Semi-constitutional?
Well, semi-parliamentary, I said, not constitutional. Well,
you said semi-constitutional parliamentary system. What did you say?
If I said constitutional, I said it, but I didn't mean it.
Oh,
okay.
So it's a semi? It's a constitutional
whenever
semi.
you hear semi, okay, it means they have a president. I was looking at the pattern this morning. Yeah? They have a prime minister, okay, they have even a vice president, then they have an upper and a lower house.
Do they have a king?
Algeria, no.
Okay.
Long ago they had. Those Northern African countries had kings.
Yeah.
Right now, I think there's only one country in Northern Africa that has a king. Okay, that's Morocco.
Morocco.
Yes, but the other ones, they are still tinkering with democracy.
Okay.
So they have all these bodies. Now, the interesting thing is that it has a population of 45 million people. Okay. Its landmass is also one of the biggest on this particular continent. But the thing about Algeria is, like most of those Northern African countries, democracy isn't working very well. It's working, but it's something that is seriously a work in progress. Now, I will give more details later. And when I do, I'll mention the name of the president and the former president, and I'll explain why it is I've said what I've said.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the proverb. May I proceed to the proverb?
Please.
Thank you so much. Cross the river, but don't cross the silent one.
Cross the river, but don't cross the silent one.
Tafadhali.
Mheshimiwa,
Yes.
what's your interpretation of this proverb?
Well, my interpretation, City, will be we just play around with KK But let us remember, they have so many silent things that are not going on well. Don't go that side, or else you'll find yourself into another situation that you have never imagined, which we are in now. That's how I've brought the proverb home.
KK is Kenya Kwanza.
Oh, yes.
So look at Kenya Kwanza. Don't cross where the Kenya Kwanza is.
Don't go deep. Don't go deep, because you won't come out, and you won't be able to do anything for the country. That's all I would say.
Sawa.
Sawa tu.
Message lands.
Interpretation is good.
Very good. Very good one. There's a crisis in the country.
Yes.
In your constituency, what's the situation like?
In my constituency, since the rain started beating us, in the beginning, first we had the worst because the county had not collected garbage for quite some time. And this is garbage coming from the Greater South, and then they have a holding ground. And so when the rain came, all that garbage was washed by rain. It ended up in all the drainages, ended up now going downstream, and that is how all the townhouses were affected, because after the garbage blocked all those drainages, there was nothing left but water now to flow back. And so you find we lost Chalby Drive, a whole of 18 townhouses. Their walls went down, their whole sitting room, all their cars pushed right down to the riparian land. And on the upstream, all the homes there, the Sudanese embassy, everywhere, we had all over garbage inside their compounds. Dogs, cats that were swept away. And for me, I think where I felt very disappointed and is where you call the county 5 days, not for anything else, because you can see it's a disaster. You need to coordinate yourselves together and support each other, just to bring trucks so that we can collect the garbages that were in those compounds. And we did not have until we had to pay for our own trucks to carry all that garbage. I think that is where now we realized the county is not prepared, because that was just in the beginning. So even now, as we come to this...
When you say in the beginning, how long ago are we talking about?
We are talking when the month now started of April. You remember the first rain that hit us on a Sunday? That is when we had the first damage in Dagoretti North. That's when we lost a woman. Thank God we were able to retrieve her. And then going forward now is when now we realized we need, and I think I have been one honorable member who calls in, who even looks at the sub-county, and we sit and we agree. But on this one, they were unable. And that is one thing now, if Dagoretti North then was like that, and you can imagine now we have tried our best ourselves to sort out many things with neighbors now. We come out with neighbors, we look at where the problem is, we ask ourselves, what is the solution? When the solution is for the county, we get stuck. Like yesterday night, it was very unfortunate. There are townhouses at a place where you can't find water. But yesterday, water just came into all those townhouses. Reasons, we have gone there twice with the county and told them, these guys who are building here, this construction here, has come in, yes, but they sort of distorted the drainage from upstream. So when you're coming down, all the waters now go back within the estate instead of going, and people have lived there 30 years, they have seen El Nino, they have seen all these things. But for the first time now, water into their houses. They can't believe.
Some have said, okay, I'll come to the some have said later. Just want to come back into this. There were heaps of uncollected garbage as the rains were starting.
Yes.
What does this mean? Because we know and we remember very well that the county government had launched this initiative to have garbage collected, drainages unclogged months before. In fact, last year, as we were preparing for the El Nino, there were people who were hired per sub-county to deal with these matters of environment. They're called the Green Army of the county.
Yes.
I'm sure you have contacts with the ward admins in your constituency and the sub-county administrators.
Yes.
Are you saying that they had not had this job done?
No.
by April?
Yes, they had not had this job done. And you can have your green army. But you see, when you realize it's becoming overwhelming and you never trained them, you see, you just told them, go and open drainages. Our young people, they are thinking, you just go, you take your spade, your wheelbarrow, you're opening. In fact, not even a wheelbarrow. So you have a spade. All what you have removed, you put it on top here. And you're expecting the county will come, I don't know at what time, to start collecting again to put on the truck. So they don't collect, they leave it there. So when the rain comes, what does it do? It brings it back in. And that is where their challenge is. So there's no cleaning you did, there's no drainage you open. They did their bit, you never did your bit. Then the other thing is, there are those culverts that are just too long. There's one even right now, I am very worried at Lavington. It's a very long one. And so it has come, everything, garbage has now blocked. You need a very long, I don't know, wire or something to unlock it to the other side, or else you'll have to open this whole thing and start reconstruction again. So, do we have any green army who understands that? No. We need now the guy who was employed with expertise for plumbing or something to come and help to open such an opening. And then the whole thing, those caveats are so small. I remember even calling the one just for Chalby Drive. I even called Kura. I told them, look, we need to reopen and put in a sizable based on the water that is coming through. From that time to date, they have never.
What's the issue, Mheshimiwa, with the response from the county? Because, I mean, this has all started from the very beginning. You talked about the first rains in April and calls for... Before that, there was non-pickup of garbage. Why? Are you aware?
You see, you'll be told the garbage collectors have not been paid. They have striked. But then now you tell them, why can't we change the system? Because in the other areas, garbage is being collected. What is wrong with this garbage not being collected the way this other one is being collected? Yet people pay. Not that people in Kawangware do not pay for their garbage. They pay. They pay 200. You just need a truck that can come either on Thursday, collect that garbage and take it where it's supposed to go, if it's Dandora or wherever. But no, they decided to do 2 collection points in Dagoretti North. These collection points brings in garbage from other constituencies. So I told them, why can't then each constituency have a collection point so that you minimize this garbage? It has been, I know it's been a tall order because I have pushed, we have quarreled. In fact, right now I'm telling them we must close one or else we are going to have diseases very soon, because even now the heap is still there. And it has brought in, I remember even KTN airing all that, where we had now garbage that had reached humongous, until now it's just pigs running on top of it. And you're wondering, the same pigs people are going to eat is the same. That is why diseases will just be there, because as I buy this meat, do I even remember how to clean it? No. Then the worst is with this rain, right now, there's rain, there's sewer, there's everything together. And the worst that we can do now is to imagine, where are people getting drinking water? Because Nairobi Water cannot tell me you will open the tap and get clean water for people.
In all this...
And all this is county again, because Nairobi Water is under county.
Where are the leaders? So we know at constituency level, you're there. And then you have several wards. How many wards are there in the Dagoretti North? There are 5 wards. Kilimani, Kileleshwa,
Kabiru, Katina, and Kawangware.
The 5 wards, those are 5 MCAs who sit in the County Assembly of Nairobi.
Yes.
And then under the county executive, we've got the leadership, the sub-county admin, the ward admins, and so on, and then going all the way to the governor and the deputy. Where are all these leaders? Have you had conversations as leaders to say, these are the threats that we are facing? as the rains come, and these are the proposed solutions that we can have.
The good thing with Dagoretti North, you see, with my MCAs, I think we work very closely. And like Robert Alai, we follow. We even go ourselves. If it's Kilelesho ward, if it's Katina ward, we have Swaka. If it's Kabiro, yes, we work together. We are now left with our executive, which we don't know how to hammer, fight, so that we can understand each other. I mean, it's very frustrating. You see, I know I worked in the county, yes, and I know there are many challenges in the county. But then, I would say this, and it's very unfortunate. You see, when you bring in a team, and it's something, I'm sorry to say, Kenya Kwanza appreciate to do things that way, which is very unfortunate, where you decide you don't want expertise. You just want people. They must be loyal, maybe. I don't know. But you don't care what next, because the country doesn't go with loyalism. The country goes with people who have expertise to run the institution you have given them. And there's no way, the same way I'll tell the governor, the same way I normally tell His Excellency the President, you cannot be governor, CEC disaster, CEC finance. You can't. You can't.
Of course, there are CECs.
You have to bring in them, and they must have the understanding that they are the ones who are on the ground. Before you come, they have prepared the ground for you. But now if you come to prepare the ground so that they come, then you are that institution is collapsing. And that is how things are collapsing, because governor has a team. I would say that team has let him down. And the buck stops with him. So we won't care about the team, because you selected your team. We will hit you, and hit you very hard, without fear or favor, because we are saying very simple things. Yes, there is water, there is flood, it is flooding, fine. But the simple things of making sure this water goes where it's supposed to go is where we are asking you questions that, number one, when your people approve to an investor, go and invest, do they normally follow up to know the investor has closed your drainage, the investor has changed your drainage, has decided to distort it and put it, in fact, others have built on top of it, so you can't even see at one point where is now this drainage, where is this sewer, because you have no person who follows up to ensure the planning you gave in is the planning that has been followed. Then now you come number two. Fine, you have agreed you want to see 42 floors, 25 floors, that is okay. 25 floors, where are they flowing? Where is this sewer flowing? In the same system that was there in 1972, it can't function. That is why you'll find yourself in all this mess we are in. In Nairobi, the mess we have is not God's mess. The mess we have is human mess.
It's a leadership mess.
Yes, where you have decided yourselves to put yourselves into this problem because of greed, because of money, because of not just following. You cannot come and remove this building. Why? Because we will change water, nature. Wangare told us you can't change it. It will come and look for its system. And that's where we are. And I'm hoping as we go into the hell we have gone in, going downstream, I would say, for us, if we remove the garbage and close one of those, we can survive. But now look at where the water is headed. It goes downstream. Enter Mathare.
It affects all these people
I
downstream.
went to Mathare, and that is where I said, no. First of all, have you ever wondered and asked, is this the real water? Is there somewhere there was a dam that busted and we don't know? Because that water of Mathare is extraordinary water. I mean, you imagine they were asleep and you find water on your roof. Meaning, we don't even know how many people died in Mathare. Because definitely, in that sleep, the children went, everything just went, and I did not even get to know. I mean, when you see the videos, you're asking yourself, where are the children? The children were swept. Definitely. We are waiting until that water goes down, then we will know the damage. We don't know the damage.
This is why I bring in leadership, okay? So leadership, we know the government of the Nairobi City County comprises of two. There's the executive, there's the assembly. You've been head of the assembly, and you know then how the assembly is supposed to be checking the executive. All these things that we are saying, the government, the governor may have appointed people who are not up to the task in the job at hand. They were approved by the assembly. The chief officers, the county executive committee members, they are they're actually constantly oversighted by the assembly. We don't hear the assembly talking about this mess.
You see, Eric, I will say this. This county has had, let me go now to the people who have been there for more than 30 years. Kidero founded them, Sonko founded them, and now you have found them. And it's a structure where you have never questioned any. I always look at each governor. They don't come in and question and say, okay, so you have worked for us for 30 years. Is there a way I can look for, because maybe you're about to retire, or some of them, by the way, are on retirement, but because the county has not been keeping their money, they have refused to go. They say you have to. So you have a planning person who has been there 45 years planning for Nairobi. But you can see the mess you are in, and he's still your planning guy. That's where you have to start questioning your structure. It's not even about these new ones you have brought in. These new ones come into an office. In that office, if it doesn't function, and you can't break it, and then they will tell you, wengi walitupata, hata wewe umetupata na utatuacha tu. Now that's where you wake up. It's a wake-up call. Because you come in and you ask yourself, how come all these people, the same problem we face, garbage, is the same, 10 years, 20 years, the same. Kidero tried. We came to remove him. But to be very honest, in a few things, Kidero tried garbage. Kidero tried collecting of revenue. And then he found himself in the mix of Nairobians, how they shikisha wewe handball vizuri, and they shikishat. These other ones, they come in, they don't stay a year, wameshikishwa handball. So you can't move, you can't breathe, you can't do anything. And that's the challenge of Nairobi. The structure, deeper structure that is in the constituencies, in the wards, is a structure that has been there for quite a while. And they appreciate, I asked one day, why is it that in Matatu, in the transport sector, government has just decided it becomes very confusing like this? And I was told, wacha hiyo story yako. If you want 300 million or even a billion in 4 hours, it is only in the transport sector. That you just come and police decide, sasa ni kushika magari. You will make. I said, that's why it has to have confusion. They said, yes. Bila confusion, huwezi pata hiyo pesa. So Nairobi, I think that's how we thrive. With confusion is when people make money. And when you remove the confusion, you become the bad one. But I think it is time, and I'm hoping with this rain, our governor will rethink. And number one, don't tell me again you'll see Mabati houses coming along the riparian land that Mishuki said, this is riparian land. He has to be thinking of dikes. He has to be thinking of how to close now Nairobi River properly and give it its width and let it be. And make sure those shanties do not come back there. I don't know whether he will be able to do that, but if I was him, this is the opportunity. Yeah,
So what I'm hearing you saying basically is those politicians, all these who are in political office, from the governor to the MCAs, they get into a structure, and that structure is just too strong for them.
Yes, and we'll find MCAs also who will tell you, I've been there since 1998. That one is now the worst person you should be with, because that one understands that city hall from the time it had mayors. And he was one of them who used to carry a chair and throw. Now you're with him here. He has no chair to throw, but he can throw in different ways because he's relative and relative and relative. You see, the other thing we have missed is completely, which I don't say don't employ your relatives, but I'm saying when they are there like 10 of them, you won't function because they go and gang up and you can't touch this one and you can't touch this one. So you'll find, and that is what, even Nairobi Water, I want to tell Engineer Maguna, you have been there. Is there a day you'll give Nairobi a different concept of water? Is there a day you'll tell them they can have token and pay what they are using? Is there a day you can tell them? And it's there, it's possible. Is there a day you'll change that? Because all Nairobians are paying for water. You are making money, but they have no water. Right now, they have no water, they have no sewer. You are the owner of sewers. You are the owner of making sure we have better pipes right now. And so even in all this mess, what we should, and even what the national government is doing, you see, you must sit down and ask yourself, what is your short term? And for me in Nairobi, don't bring blankets, don't bring mattresses, and leave a person in a school.
Let's take a break, Mheshimiwa. We'll continue shortly, 24 minutes to 9. Beatrice Elachi, MP, Eldoret North Constituency.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
I've got a plan to make my investment seem better than I do under the shower.
ICEA Lion has a plan for everyone. Talk to us today for a plan that's right for you. Or visit icealion.co.ke. ICEA Lion, what's your plan?
Lights. Digger. Action. Do you have the passion, the interest to tell a story to the world in your own style? Well, we're ready to take you in and help you grow your talents in the media industry. The Standard Group, in partnership with Talanta Institute, is offering a media training and incubation program courtesy of Standard Talanta Academy, where we nurture and guide industry talents on an array of topics from writing, reporting, media law and ethics, investigative journalism and research to the Kenya Copyright Board, Kenya Film Commission and the Kenya Films and Classification Board legal frameworks. To apply to the Standard Talanta Academy for our upcoming May intake, visit www.talanta.ac.ke or call 0724 468 468. The Standard Talanta Academy. Experience the vibrant pulse of Africa at Festac Africa Festival 2024 in Kisumu. Join us for a week-long celebration of culture, music, fashion, and more from May 20th to 26th. Dive into sustainable growth with food, art, education, and youth empowerment. Don't miss Africa's premier Pan-African and global cultural exchange program. Get your tickets now. 1 day for 500 Kenya shillings or the full week for 2,000 Kenya shillings. Kisumu County welcomes the world to be part of Africa's forward movement. Act fast and secure your spot in this unforgettable journey. To register, just go to www.festacafrica.org.
Join us for the Sarit Mega Sale at Sarit.
The weather with Spice.
Partly sunny conditions in Nairobi, 17 degrees, and looking into a mostly sunny Nakuru, 18, 16 and partly sunny in Nyeri, and sunny conditions at 16 in Eldoret. Looking into a sunny Mombasa, 26, we'll see highs of 32 and highs of 31 in a mostly sunny Malindi. At 23, it's sunny in Kisumu and 21 and sunny in Kakamega. Kampala is mostly sunny at 21 and Dar es Salaam at 25 is sunny. Johannesburg at 13, sunny conditions, and looking into a partly sunny Mogadishu at 29. Addis Ababa is cloudy at 17 and Lagos mostly cloudy at 28 with sunny conditions at 24 in Kinshasa. Heavy traffic on Landis Road this morning. It's coming off of Jogo Road. Some of that will go towards Lusaka as you try to find your way into the city. All roads leading towards Uhuru Highway to get into the CBD this morning. As you get onto Landis, it's heavy though as you go towards the Kamkunji roundabout. And there's incoming traffic and it's coming off heavy off of Ring Road, Ngara, and then also coming in from General Waringi Road as well as Kariakor. That whole area seems to be very busy this morning. We're looking at traffic also coming off of Muranga Road going towards the Globe roundabout. And as you look at traffic coming off of Valley Road, it's heavy then touching on to Uhuru Highway in the middle of the city. All right, eye on everything. We are still in traffic hour. Talk to us on SpiceFM KE on X hashtag The Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
2 minutes to 9. Our conversation continues with Beatrice Elachi, MP, Dagoretti North.
I think, even as we look at the makeup or the character of this disaster, because that is what it is, and there's a combination of two things from what you've said, a leadership issue, as well as Mother Nature doing what she will do. But then the question is, what do we do today? Because again, decisions that are made, one would hope, are based on information that is given. Kenya Met has told us a number of things. The rain is going to get worse in this last week of April, going towards the first week of May. That if we thought it was bad, we're likely to see more rain and with more frequency on top of the same situation. So I can understand that we lament about it. And I mean, it breaks my heart to hear some of the things that we are seeing and hearing every day. But there's something that must be done now, today, now.
Yes.
And we cannot pussyfoot around that. So the question is, what needs to happen now? Everybody on board, get it. I mean, surely garbage can be moved, drainages can be unblocked. Is this not a today issue? Sort it out now so that we can have a place where the water does go. Because that's what we're dealing with today.
I'll say this. Like, for example, in Runda. Let me start with Runda, where a lady called me, Mama Pascal, and she said in their estate, since last Tuesday, they have never come out because the waters came in, and that's why I'm saying either that is the same water that flew down, flowed down to these sides of Madare, Ruaraka, coming down, because it's looking for an avenue now to go into the river. And then I called Bramwell. He responded. They had to go there with a boat. When I spoke to the CJ told me I'm also an IDP. I think she lives in the same vicinity.
So, which CJ?
Our CJ. Had
Chief
to move
Justice.
out of, had to move out of her house also. There was, it's completely, that same area of Grace and Faith Close Road in Runda is completely a must. And so I asked them, have you gotten any food or anything? So we had to send by using a boat. But then there's an elderly family there who the nurse normally comes to check on. And I think that's what made me now call the county team and say, look, you must go and see how to look at this elderly family that has been there since Tuesday with no power, with no nothing, for the same. If we want to now have, I can see we have very many teams, which I always fear when you have the multi-agency team. Each ministry, I don't know how they are pulling in the resources they have now, and what do you want to do with these resources? It should be your question. Because yes, we know already it is one, drainages. So who is going to open the drainages clearly for the water to flow into Nairobi River so that it goes downstream? That is one. But then to the people who are now in the camps, I know the Deputy President agreed to send them some in Kasarani, and this is my take. For Nairobi, you don't do that. Reasons, other people come in and take advantage. And so the best is give a family. You've given them, I don't know whether they are using now a tag to know these are the families are affected or just a list. Use it, yes. But start looking for houses right now upstream you'd rather give someone the rent and say, I've given you rent for 2 months.
Go get
and we have given you a mattress, blankets, but go into a house somewhere with a small something to cook with. Go and start your life upstream, so that you do not imagine they can go back there. You start moving them now outside from that place.
Mheshimiwa, you're right, because they will go back.
Yes, they will.
The reason why they stayed there in the first place was because that was the option they had.
Yes.
So because the rains have come doesn't mean they're going to have another option unless somebody provides
it
with that other option.
Yes. And so you have to move them now and make sure they move properly and get their data, so that each area you know that this is the team I have supported. And so you have one coordinating team. And let us do it in a manner where people don't come in. Because we went with Esther, and Esther has really tried. She got mattresses. She had to get them all the way from Kisumu. All over, there was no mattress in Nairobi. They were all finished. So she had to call Kisumu, and the truck came in at night. So we went to one of the points where, first of all, we had to do food. But then when I arrived there, we asked ourselves, nobody had thought that these are more than 300 people. They will need toilets. They will need water. All those things. So, as women, you first start thinking, where do you get basins? Because in the morning, what happens here? And then, where do you get toilets? So you start calling in for someone to bring in some portable toilets. To assist. And I'm like, and the men have come. They came in the morning. They came at 2 and they left. They didn't even remember. Children are here. They haven't eaten. And this is water. We are going to create another disaster of having airborne diseases immediately here, even cholera, even whatever. So that is how, when I see the men sit, why I was saying Kenya Kwanza, and the president will forgive me, it's because when I see him walk, I first see him with a huge team of men. And I ask myself, in disaster, men? No, they won't think. In fact, they get blocked. Their mind blocks. And I'm like, no.
What would you like to see?
So
let's start at the national level.
At the national level, I am hoping they can say, we are a multi-sectoral team. We have a team that is going to open to see how the waters now go down by opening those drainages. That is Ministry of Roads, I don't know, all those together. Then we have your disaster team here. I would want them to tell us, since the time they saw people now floating in water and all over, have you been just able to label and know, if you are asked immediately, I can just flash and tell you 700 people, households are here. They have this problem, this problem. The children in this family are aged this and this and this. And so what do we need very fast? We need blankets, we need mattress, we need this. And money, is it a single woman? Is it a family with the father and mother? That's the data you should be holding now to know. And what do they work? Were they doing businesses, informal business, normal business? Was it a kiosk, a shop? Gone. And then from there, how do you now assist this family to move? Not to put them in another camp for 3 months again. And so when they come out of camp, where are they headed? You have no place. But for now is when you tell the chiefs, identify areas that are up, that you can find houses, and we will come and pay for the houses and let them go, or give them the money and make sure they go. And start thinking how you are putting a whole fence to show them this is riparian land now. Yes, as government. And because you can't put fence ya chuma wataiba, ama watabeba waende kufanya scrape, those ones who do scrape. You think of now dikes that are cemented dikes, and you start thinking now, and start from the upstream of Nairobi River, which starts all the way, Dagoretti South Riruta, come with our stream properly. And if there's anyone on the stream, even a good house, like now the one at Keleleshwa there, how did we return that whole thing there?
What
whole thing? The petrol station, Now we have a new tall building right on the river like this. Definitely, the soil is just weakening down here, and one day it will collapse then. And then.
So that's at the national. At county.
Now at county, it's the same. Disaster is with the county.
Yeah.
From the time the counties started seeing all these challenges, have they mapped to know areas that are worst hit? Areas that are better? Have they been able now to go downstream with a boat, swim on Nairobi River, get to Mathare, go to Ruaraka, get to Kasarani, where all the water is flowing down there? And then from there, you ask yourself, Mukuru Kwanjenga, are we still going to see this mabati hanging like this? Or you are right now removing it? So that they know these are disasters. You cannot come back in. You see, if you leave also these houses just hanging like that, who is clearing? Because you need someone to clear off all
so now let's
that is on the riparian land.
Let's come to Dagoretti
and then make sure you have food. Dagoretti North.
What are you doing? Now at Dagoretti North now, you are a leader of Dagoretti North.
Yes.
What are you doing? Have you established those structures in Dagoretti North?
And that is why, for the first time, we are very lucky. We thank God. We have not had ourselves saying we have people swept with water. We have landlords who deliberately, I'm telling you, Eric, have you ever gone begged, can we do drainage? And they completely refuse. They are fighting. Right now, they are the ones now calling. The ones who refused, they had to buy their own. When we were doing it, we reached a point. Are you imagining a landlord coming and at night closing it back and putting stones and then cementing it? The first rain that came went straight into his house. Then he woke up and he told me, Mheshimiwa, tunataka kutengeneza. I said, kutengeneza? When I brought you the experts kukutengenezea, we ulitufungia, ukagombana. So what you do, go and buy all that is pertained to be done for a drainage. And they had to do it. There is a place where we've had hell, St. Anthony. Oh, the landlords there. I mean, I have never seen very stubborn people. But right now, nobody's in the house. So what I've been doing, I've been telling someone, wewe umefungiwa uishi hapa? Si wewe umetoka ushago? Shika pesa, enda rent nyumba mahali pengine bwana. Usinisumbue ati uko ndani ya mahali watu walikataa drainage. No. So I'm also a bit strict with them. The only place I am fighting with county is to close those garbage collection places. So that we can give an alternative to these young people on the same place. When we remove garbage, we will remain with the land. They can put a car wash, they can put a few kiosks and do a different business than this one of garbage collection.
Beatrice, do you have a committee
for the same
in Dagoretti North that brings together the leadership of Dagoretti North? The same thing. That says this is how we are approaching this collectively, starting from the National Assembly, that's you, into the County Assembly, that's the 4 or 5 MCAs, into the County Executive, that says that this is what we are dealing with, and this is how we shall approach it.
I won't lie to you, Eric.
Nairobi as a whole,
we go
you are 17 of you members of the National Assembly.
I know.
A supplementary budget is coming.
Yeah.
Do you have a conversation that says that a supplementary budget, we shall insist for X amount of money that goes into disaster, that is earmarked for disaster, and then pushing the 5 MCAs plus the others, 70 plus MCAs of Nairobi, and saying a supplementary budget in Nairobi that shall address this, and then insisting on the formation of these structures that you're saying for Nairobi County?
We are meeting the governor at 9. Definitely, we are going to insist on that. But for now, how we have been operating, trust me, and we should give, the community health workers across Nairobi, I think they are the ones who have carried the burden of the county. And they are the ones we work with very closely. Because, in their structure, they normally have 100 households each.
Yeah.
So when those houses are affected, she will call you as a community health worker and say, within my area...
They know all those
They
people.
know. Like now in Mathare, don't go and tell me the chief. No. Go and look for the community health worker in Mathare. She will tell you how many people she's missing in her structure of 100 households. And so what we'll do in this meeting with Governor, I am hoping we can now have those structures to say in Dagoretti North who is coming from the county government, who are we being given, but in that team we must have an expert of drainages, we must have a good plumber who will understand, and guys who can come and pump out the sewer properly. All those guys, we need experts in the teams. Don't just give us a political team. We will not do the work. We will politicize the work.
Do the job.
Yes.
So what I'm hearing so far is that in Nairobi with this disaster, because people today are living from Mathare to Mukurus to South B, South C, Imara, to Runda, to Kileleshwa, to Lavington, citizens are the ones who are engaging in their own way.
Yes, yes.
Community-based organizations are the ones that are coming up to mobilize, even support.
Yes.
Our leaders are talking.
Yes, we are talking.
That's what I'm hearing.
I mean, it's good to say, to be honest. We are on the table. We are creating structures.
Having meetings.
And we are having a lot of meetings, by the way.
Let me ask.
And, which is unfortunate.
The disaster that we're talking of now is of a magnitude we have not witnessed before.
Yes, yes. Even El Nino, no.
Yeah, but when we had other disasters, are we saying that we didn't form committees then that, because there's this issue that was, well, there were these two state departments that were nestled within the office of the president that had to deal with these disasters. Over time, we've had legislation that has lent itself to getting us to understand that we understand these things occur and we want to be prepared for it. It's called a preparedness. Because now, what you're now doing, this is a holding action. It has happened. Let's see what we can do.
Yes.
Yes.
And then when you are done, we forget. That's our biggest problem, yes. That the day the rains will stop, we will not remember to remove people from riparian, or they have come back, we are not questioning. That's the biggest challenge for Kenya. And not just that. You see, even by law, I don't know if we have really defined disaster.
We have.
Because, well, we have, but not in this new constitution city. When you look at it, you see, we gave counties more responsibility on disaster. But we never defined at what point do we ensure the national government comes in. It's only when the president says now, or when people now are all over screaming and shouting, is when you say there's disaster now. At what point?
What structure did you need to start mobilizing and doing what you're doing?
Well, when now that one...
Precisely. A problem occurred, it required a solution,
yes.
And you said, I am the elected leader here,
yes.
And you've gone beyond even your jurisdiction, okay? And yet, there are people who are supposed to be trained in such matters.
That's what I'm saying. How do we define this response so that next time you don't come and say, I'm calling in a multi-agency?
All right, let me paint the picture. Let me give it a darker hue than we currently have. Every time we have drought, there's hunger, isn't it?
Yes.
What do we see happening? Wananchi gets together. And then you hear of government effort. And usually hear it because you hear of monies that have been given for it. Then you'll find a high-ranking officer going to some place and giving blankets and mattresses. It is good that mattresses and blankets are given. And then that's it. Okay? That has been and is our story. Stimulus, response. It happens, we respond. And then we go back to factory settings. Okay? Now, surely, we're talking about people waking up to the reality. You, as members of parliament whom we elect, surely, don't you think it is time that you did something that will guarantee that when these things happen, we are actually prepared?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. We just need to put in a good law of disaster, and we define it properly so that people don't run away from their responsibilities, so that we are able to say...
I think what we need to do, Mheshimiwa, I'll cut you short, is we need to gather all 17 of you MPs, plus the nominated ones from Nairobi, plus the senator, plus the woman rep, plus the governor, plus the how many MCAs? in Nairobi? 85 MCAs.
Plus the nominated one.
We flog you publicly. You cannot continue talking and talking and talking.
And people are dying.
And pointing fingers at one another and saying this one should have done, this one should have done, as people are suffering.
Eric,
and dying.
We will point, you will do that, but we must get a solution.
Yes, after we flog you, you guys will come up with a solution.
And
But
that solution, I'm hoping the governor will give us today. See, he has called all of us.
We hope to hear some good news.
We will call you to find out.
We will, yes. No, we will inform you.
Asante. Beatrice Elachi is the Member of Parliament for Dagoretti North Constituency. She's been our guest this morning, 9 a.m.
Despite the failure to reach an agreement regarding the doctor strike, which is today entering its 46th day, the national and county governments have continued to threaten to fire doctors who are participating in the activity. Speaking in Kericho County, Senate Majority Leader Aaron Cheriot has emphasized that there is a need for health workers who are on strike to be fired for neglecting their duties.
Nafikiri sitakuwa nimefanya makosa nikisema pahali sasa imefika, kama mtu hayuko kazini asikutane na mshahara, na ikiisha mwezi moja ya pili na hujaenda kazini, kuna kazi yoyote ambayo unaweza kaa miezi mbili hujaenda na bado hiyo kazi ikue? Iko kazi yoyote? Hakuna kazi kama hiyo. Kwa hivyo tafadhali rudi kazini kabla mambo yoyote ijatokea, ile watu wataona ni kama mumefanyiwa hujuma.
Cheriot has also asked the doctors to end their strike and cooperate with the government to serve Kenyans, especially during this rainy season.
Kali imetuambia kwamba wale madaktari wa kujifunza, yani intern doctors, kuna pesa fulani wanaitisha 1,203, lakini kwa sababu za kiuchumi ya pahali tuko kwa sasa na challenges zile na changamoto ambayo tunapitia na kutokana na kudorora kwa uchumi wetu na emergencies zinatokea kama hii ya flooding, mimi ningependa kuomba hawa madaktari wetu, tafadhali rudini kazini wakati mnazungumziwa na serikali, ili wananchi waache kuumia katika mahospitali yetu.
It should be noted that the KMPDU Deputy Secretary General, that is Dennis Miskela, is among the doctors who have already received letters of dismissal on the grounds of neglecting their duties by participating in the strike. Some parents have continued to criticize the government over what they term as poor planning and communication. They say as much as the government has changed school opening dates due to floods, late communication has affected some of them who'd already travelled with their children back to school. The Ministry of Education last night made changes to school opening dates, saying that learners will instead report back to school next week on Monday and not today, as earlier communicated. Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Mashogu said the one-week extension of school holidays is as a result of the heavy rains witnessed in the country, which has led to floods on major roads. Mashogu said the ministry had further directed field officers to submit data from all learning institutions countrywide where adverse effects of the heavy rains were reported. A case where former Naivasha MP John Mutudho is after NHIF CEO for defying an order on the provision of healthcare services will be mentioned today. The matter will be mentioned to confirm if NHIF and the CEO have complied with a consent order requiring them to issue Mutudho's healthcare centre with a relevant new service agreement. The consent between NHIF Board and Jomek Limited, a company owned by Mutudho, was adopted in court on February 6th this year. 2 Italian nationals were arrested over the weekend for allegedly obtaining 32 million shillings by false pretense in Watamu, Kilifi County. The two were arrested by officers from the DCI Kilifi County at their residence in Watamu following complaints from 2 Italians that they had sold property without valid documents for 32 million shillings. The suspects spent the better part of the weekend in police custody and are expected in Kilifi court to face charges of obtaining money by false pretense. And finally, UDA Secretary General Cleophas Malala has asked Kakamega Senator Boni Halwale to prepare himself to face him in the UDA primaries for the seat of governorship. Speaking in Lugari constituency, Malala officially announced that he'll again be competing for the governorship seat come the 2027 general elections.
Mimi nataka kutangaza hapa leo kwamba bado niko na mbegu ya kuzalisha. So muangalie vizuri sana. Mheshimiwa Halwale, najua wewe pia uko katika hiyo safari na kutakia mema. Yule ambaye atashinda kwa nominations zetu kati ya Boni Halwale na mimi, basi ukishinda mimi nitakuunga mkono 100%. Na mimi nikishinda basi pia uniunge mkono 100%.
At the same time, Senator Halwale criticized Western leaders in government for not using their positions to create employment opportunities.
Tumeweka watu, tumeweka Mudavadi prime cabinet secretary, tulimtoa kwa BBI unsteady. Tumeweka Wetangula ni speaker, tulimtoa kwa Fort Kenya.
That's the Newswire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
It's busy in the city this morning. Uhuru Highway is jam-packed. Looking at that junction coming in from Aerodrome, an arrow comes off of Langata Road. And also coming down Mombasa Road, it's busy. You're going to connect from South C on this side, South B on the other, busy. Then we get towards that junction that comes in on Ngong Road, and also that coming off of Haile Selassie. That's busy. It's going to find its way through to Westlands slowly. Coming off of Thika Superhighway, that's looking a little bit better. Traffic coming in from Survey. And Lower Kabete going through towards Spring Valley was busy from early in the morning, still is. Traffic coming off of James Gishuru, crossing over to Red Hill Link Road, and inbound traffic is also busy this morning. So still looking at traffic, this whole area, Arboretum, State House, Laikipia Road, coming in off Oloitoktok Road. A lot of traffic this morning. We're still in traffic hour. Let's see what happens as we get through it. We'll talk SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag the Situation Room.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
9:07. How are you doing? Welcome to the final hour of The Situation Room today. Thank you very much to everybody who tunes into The Situation Room every weekday morning on Spice FM. Those who are tuning in on our digital platforms, Radio Garden and other radio platforms. Those who are tuned in on our website, www.spicefm.co.ke, or on YouTube or Facebook, or those that catch up with the conversations much later. And then there are those who will, meet in various other places outside of the show, and they're like, I'm usually a silent listener. I follow the conversations. Every week you'll meet such people, City, right? Mm-hmm. And they come in and they say, yes, I liked this conversation, I liked the other. I felt you could have asked this question, or the next time, please consider inviting so-and-so so we can, this is the angle to the conversation. Yes. All these enrich conversations.
Yes.
And sometimes some people say, I was seeing you, but I wasn't sure that I should come and tell you this. Mm. And I say, no, whenever, just come, please.
The question that they normally come and say, I am not sure where I have seen you.
You look familiar.
You look familiar. And so you say, okay, take a guess. Where do you think you have seen me, or have you heard me? Then they'll tell you.
Yes.
Yes, and you say, well, that is nice of you. How lovely of you to watch the show.
Yes.
Let's talk.
Very good. Very good. And you get a lot of feedback.
Yes, you do.
Similar kind of things you get, huh? Over the weekend, you were at Kenya Pipeline in Mombasa.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It was interesting. My goodness, to see how things. It's very interesting. The word I used during that briefing was potential. The potential that this nation has actually to lift itself out of pre-development stage to the point where it is thriving is unbelievable. It's incredible.
It's actually monumental.
It's crazy that opportunities are not being taken.
And yet, it's like every successive government talks about uplifting it, and when you look at the actions, they're doing the complete opposite.
So everybody knows what needs to be done.
Yes.
It's there.
There was a job to be done.
It's there.
Somebody needed to do it.
It's there.
Everybody knew what needed to be done.
Yes.
But then
anybody could have done it.
Yes.
But nobody did it.
And then everybody talks about how it's not being done.
But they talked about it.
Yeah.
That wasn't done. And they live in extol the potentials and the benefits. Extol, which means they understand it.
Yeah.
But what gets done is not what they were saying.
Hey.
It was an eye-opener.
Yeah.
For sure.
Then the private sector comes in. Private sector sees opportunity. Private sector jumps at opportunity. So, for example, in the hospitality sector, private sector players have come in and they are doing things, making moves left, right, and center. Our next guest is from the private sector in the hospitality space, Benson Mulandi, Group Sales and Marketing Manager at the Panari Group. Panari Group. That tells you what? Potential and moving. Potential, twende. Sindio? Hotels, resorts, residence, Nairobi, Nyeri, and he'll tell us where else. Benson, good morning.
Good morning to you guys.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Salama kabisa?
It's another week.
Very good.
Yeah, and
very
look
good.
Forward.
Karibu sana.
And despite a lot of rains, but
you're
we say it's a
dry.
blessing.
Nowadays the greetings have changed. Are you dry?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh.
We thank God for dryness.
Yeah.
There's some message that we have from Showmax, and I'm sure you as hospitality, you also look at how entertainment comes in, and you deal with the Showmax's parent company, MultiChoice, in your rooms. But consider this. Showmax.
Attention, and that is the call for the love of entertainment. Get ready for an unmatched viewing experience with Showmax, so you can immerse yourself in a world of endless entertainment options. So here you are. You can watch your favorite movies, your favorite series, and much more in crystal clear HD quality on multiple devices. So you can watch on your TV, your phone, your laptop, your whatever it is that you do. Stream on 2 screens simultaneously or download content for offline enjoyment. You can download it now when you have access so that you can watch it later. And for the die-hard football fans, don't miss out on the Showmax Premier League plan. So you get live matches, you get analyses and highlights, and exclusive fan content right on your mobile phone. Visit www.showmax.com, download the Showmax app today, and get on to non-stop entertainment. So we're asking you to shika Showmax.
Shika Showmax. City.
Yes, please.
Why don't you welcome Benson with the day's proverb?
I will. Proverbs for the whole of this week come from the Republic of Algeria. Okay? Not kingdom, public. And you asked a question, so let me answer it now. You asked about who the president is. Well, they actually do have a president, but they also have a prime minister. And then they also have something called a council president. Then they have an assembly president.
Yeesh. Okay.
Yes, they have an upper and a lower house.
Assembly president could be like the speaker.
Assembly president is actually the speaker.
Okay.
Yes.
And the council president is the speaker of the council.
Yeah,
and the council is the upper house.
Yes.
All right.
You're right. And they call the upper house the Council of Nations. And they call the lower house People's National Assembly.
Okay.
So it's very easy to tell that these two gentlemen are gentle people, are the leaders in these various houses. The proverb. Cross the river, but don't cross the silent one.
Cross the river, but don't cross the silent one.
Yes.
Yeah. Like what is happening now.
Very good. You see water sitting in the middle of the road and you feel, well,
it's like it's not moving.
It's not moving and this water is okay. Then you go into it and your car starts sinking into it and you're wondering, I thought it was a pothole. Or you hit it and suddenly you hear a hissing sound. That hissing sound is your tire going flat. Not pleasant. Then you find the tire shredded and the rim is also bent.
Bas. But Benson, I get a feeling that, apart from just the very direct translation and interpretation of this proverb, that the Algerians had something else they were saying with this proverb. Do you think there's a deeper meaning to this?
Of course. It's the way we usually say this, the normal, the normal meaning, maana ya juu and maana ya ndani. Of course, it talks of the river, it talks of maybe pothole, that's like going deeper. You are not just thinking about just the river. Yeah, and just the way maybe sometimes they say, ukiona simba amenyeshewa, usifikirie ni paka. It can be translated to many other meanings actually, and
looks are deceiving. Be careful.
Yes, exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
So the Panari Group.
Yes.
Tell us about the Panari Group.
Panari Group. Actually, Panari. Even without going to the group, it's a household name. Originating from this Panari on Mombasa Road. It's been studying there for 18 years. And that's why when you say Panari, I think everyone knows Panari. It's been there. It's been the hospitality space for all these years. It's one of the, the oldest hotels in Nairobi. When I started working, actually, I think that's the time it was also built. So I've seen it grow. And then, of course, now it has children. who are not young. We have the resort now. It's been there for 8 years. The Panari Resort in Nyahururu. And we have the residents in Westlands. You see, and that's how the groom becomes, Yeah, that's how.
Do you know the 3 locations?
Nyahururu? I mean, I've heard of it.
You haven't been to Nyahururu yet?
No, unfortunately not.
Yes, Benson. I'll tell you about Nyahururu.
I'll give you the info.
And the residences?
Where are the residences?
Church Road, Westlands.
The Panari residences?
Yes.
On Church Road?
Yes,
I used to live on
Westlands.
Church Road. How long have they been there?
Been there for a long time also. Yeah.
Okay.
Been there for long.
Okay. And then, of course, the Panari. So this is all linked to the Panari Hotel, which is here in Mombasa.
That's why I said now it originates from
here.
This Panari, is the oldest, and then now the resort, 8 years, and the residences.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... And we are still growing. And, hospitality in the country is really growing, and we are looking at even having so many other hotels coming in. So even us, as the hospitality grows, even after Corona, after the COVID, things we are talking about, the hospitality growing in Kenya like 23%.
Yeah.
23% growth.
From 2019 to 2024, we are likely to see that in growth.
That's interesting, because I was going to ask you, over the time, if you look over the last 20 years or so, there have been ebbs and flows, there have been dips and rises in terms of what has been happening in the hospitality sector. How has, how have you been able to keep present or to keep relevant in a time where there have been very many hits? I mean, there have been, what are we looking at? We're looking at a global shutdown in the name of COVID. That happened. And then people were not going anywhere. One day, everybody was moving. Literally, 24 hours later, the world shut down. And then you're heavily dependent on rooms being booked, heavily dependent on conferences happening. And then that didn't happen. How are you able to remain relevant through that?
Let me say, through the, all the challenges you have mentioned, actually, I think I've gone through all of them. I was in the hospitality industry. From the beginning of when we started having Al-Shabaab, and now all the attacks.
The travel warnings.
The travel advisories, various bodies, I was still there. I mean, even during the, post-election, I was still in the hospitality industry. And I must say it, the survival is also based on our, our economy being so resilient. And, there's this attack, then you survive a little bit, and then you find yourself, bouncing back. Look at the COVID, I think it was the hardest for this hospitality industry. And hospitality industry is so sensitive, and it affects, if it's you are depending on the travelers, it affects, your safety. And we say it's not a must you travel. So it was completely shut down. And of course, what happened with the employment to majority of the, our colleagues in the industry. Salary cuts everywhere, and I also left where I was during Corona because there was no business. And, I bounced back in 2022, January, you see, after staying out for 8 months. Hotel survived. Of course, now it goes to, cost cutting when it comes, to a time when the hospitality is facing these challenges. The hotel has to pay electricity, the hotel has to pay, the water, those, expenses which have to be there, whether the hotels are occupied or not. And that is where now the hotels usually try to, to tighten the belt and cut those costs. And of course, these hotels have the investors, and sometimes you find during Corona, I think that's the only time I found now the owners, also trying to come in and try to, to save the workers. Actually. Because
there are hotels that, they are within the service industry, there are establishments that cater to certain specific clientele. For instance, when one talks of the Mara, one assumes that people want to go and watch wildlife. You assume they want to watch wildlife, that's why they go to the Mara. If someone is at the coast, we assume that somebody wants to enjoy the sun and the beach. That right now may be a bit difficult to enjoy. Now, what niche of clientele would you say that the Panari caters for?
We cut across, I'll tell you. And I'll talk of Panari, Nairobi, and of course, the Nyahururu. Panari, Nairobi is famous for ice skating. The only one East and Central Africa, you skate on the ice. And it's one of the main attractions when it comes to families, schools, even individuals. You want to train maybe your children about ice skating. We get even international schools coming to Panari because of ice skating. And then, of course, we have the main business for Panari, which is accommodation and the conferences. We have got 136 rooms accommodation, conferences, and then in the outlets for whether you want to go to the restaurants, main restaurants, and also now another one on the ground floor, you want to go to the gym. It has all facilities, for a fully fledged hotel. And then there's a resort. Actually, you have heard about the big name, about, the Nyahururu resort being having the franchise of Best Western Signature Collection. Best Western, of course, is a hotel group that has been there for, for years, with the East End office in Arizona, US. So we got a franchise for the resort.
What does that mean?
That means we are going to operate with the Best Western Signature Collection.
Only for Nyahururu?
Nyahururu only.
Only for the resort?
We are starting with the Nyahururu for now. And the Signature Collection for Nyahururu Resort is the only, first resort with that Signature Collection in Africa. And it means...
Sorry, Benson, I've got to ask this question. So we know Best Western. Yes. We have seen Best Western
even
branded.
Locally.
Even in Kenya.
Yes.
Locally, right? So
Correct.
We've seen the Best Westerns locally.
Correct.
But then I'm hearing you not just ending at Best Western, you're going to Best Western Signature Collection. So please, just first of all, explain this Best Western hierarchy.
So when we talk of whether Best Western Premier, whether Best Western Plus, whether Best Western, those are levels of brands. So Signature Collection from Best Western, it stands for 5-star level. So it is it's an elevated service for us.
It's a highest.
It's been a 5-star,
Right.
but now with the Signature Collection, by Best Western, it becomes even higher. It's 5-star as per the levels of Best Western, as per the standards of
the international Best Western standards.
Yes. So that puts us in to global level in terms of 5-star for the resort.
Okay.
Yes.
So when we see Best Western signature collection for the Panari Resort in Nyahururu, we cannot compare it to the Best Western Premier or Best Western Plus.
No, it's a higher level.
This is a higher level. Okay.
Yes, 5-star. Yes, for the resorts, and as I'm saying, it's the first one in Africa by Best Western. They don't have any other Best Western signature collection in Africa.
Panari has been in Nyahururu for 8 years, like you said.
Correct.
Right? And operating at that level of a 5-star resort.
Yes.
So why bring in this franchise?
8 years, but locally. It was a local brand.
Okay.
But now what we are saying, by acquiring this signature collection by Best Western, we are now going to another league. Premier League, we are not now in a local league. Simply to say.
You're not playing Champions League.
Yeah, either Premier League or maybe now World Cup, because now when you Best Western is a global hospitality network. Actually, Best Western is formed by a group of hotels. There's Best Western hotels and resorts, Wound Hotels and Sure Stay. They come together to form the Best Western. Yes. So now we are on the global platform.
What benefit do you get from that?
What is it going to do for?
Now the exposure, the visibility to the world. And actually, as we speak, that resort can be booked, globally from the platform of Best Western.
So we're saying because of the recognition that the Best Western, franchise, can I call it?
Yes,
has around the world, and that Panari then gets that tag, essentially.
Yes.
That folks then will recognize that quality and then would come here.
Yes, correct.
Right? So then obviously then bookings would go up as a result of that.
Correct.
I'm a big fan of local
enterprises.
Thank you. And tourism.
Correct.
To say that, I think that there's value in the people who are domiciled in the country where this attraction is. In this case, the attraction being the hotel. Is there space for Kenyans? Because I think things like staycations and weekend aways have become quite popular, amongst those who want to dabble into that. Where is the space that caters to ramping up local tourism, even in a local hotel, to say, if you want to be away, do that?
Correct. Actually, after explaining what this means for us, for the resort generally, even now, and I mean even before becoming Best Western signature collection, Panari Resort has been just like Nairobi. It has the space, it has the facilities for actually even the locals. Panari Resort actually occupies 25 acres of land. It's it's a very expansive place, and it doesn't just have rooms. It has villas, and the cottages. There's even a presidential villa. There's cottages. It has family facilities. Whether you are there for personal holiday, you have children, you have the playing ground for children, you are there attending conferences, you are there for team building. The grounds are expansive for team building activities, workshops. And just like in Nairobi, actually, we accommodate everyone. You go there, you find the county government, you go the corporates, you find the NGOs, the residential conferences. Because, the resort is a place where you don't just go and come back. It's usually, an overnight experience, You cannot take a conference there and come back the same day. I mean, you don't enjoy anything. You need an overnight or maybe 2 nights.
Yeah.
So it accommodates everyone. You go there on weekends and you find the families from the surrounding, coming for lunches, coming for dinners. If it's the leisure market, the tour operators and agents, you find them there. They one night as they go to Samburu or they come from Samburu, that route. And what we are saying actually even to the travel sector, you see, you have heard about maybe Masai Mara, the park fees going up. And this is another direction, another route where you are not going to experience those, the park fees of, $200 per person dollars per night. You see, we are saying there is another option actually where you can go and you don't, you cut the expense of, the park fees. But you, of course, I'm not telling people not to go to Masai Mara. But and also again, when you are there, we have other activities of. You have heard of Thompson Falls, It's nearby. It's one of the main attractions for everyone actually who is, visiting the resort.
So the resort is by the Thompson Falls?
Yeah. Actually, when you are in your room, in your cottage, you can hear, the sound of the waterfalls.
The Kirurumo.
It's very nice. We have even a hippo pool nearby,
Hippo?
Yeah. You come from... Yeah.
Okay.
Nearby. You come from the... Nearby. Okay. You come from the waterfalls. Actually, you go to the waterfalls down, then you can climb. You have now energy.
And
but
all this time, where the hippos?
No, it's not in the Thompson Falls. It's somewhere. So from there, then you are driven to Hippos pool where you can see them in the water. By the way, one thing I learned about the hippos, it can only attack you when you stand on the way. Like if you find it out of the water and then you are in the direction where it's running to go to the water, that's the only time it can attack you. It won't chase you, to the other direction. Yeah. Okay. Then another activity, actually, when we talk of hospitality, there's and this is a main plus for hotels which have adopted the sustainability, the approaches. And we have even done the water hole for the elephants. We are next, actually, we are bordering the Maramanet. Yes, forest. And it has elephants. Of course, you have heard about the history of this forest, and of encroachment and all that. And this is a place you can also do a nature walk, unguided nature walk, of course, by the, the
elephants.
They are elephants. But before you partake the nature walk, of course, they do the research. They know where the elephants are located, where they have been spotted. So at least you don't just walk through the forest anyhow.
And you sign indemnity form.
Of course. So we have done a water hole so that this the elephants don't go all the way down to the Wasonyiro, to drink water. That's long distance. So they just come. It's next to the to the wall. They take the water from there, and we have built a viewing deck, sun deck, where 20 people can climb and see the elephants. So that is part of our sustainability exercise. Nice. And we did not cut a single tree. Don't ask me how many trees we cut when we were doing
all these things. Zero
cutting of the tree.
In the development of the
water hole.
The water hole.
Yeah, so they come. And they have history, they follow, they actually understand they come from Ambandea's forest. During a certain period they come, they give birth, maternity in this forest, and during this time they're able to use
so Marmanet Forest is the maternity for those Aberdare elephants?
Yes, correct. So
Pumwani.
So there are a lot of activities as you talk about, the local, there's gym, indoor swimming pool. Yeah, actually,
let's take a break.
Yes.
We'll continue the conversation shortly. Benson Mulandi, Group Sales and Marketing Manager at the Panari Group. The Panari Group comprises the Panari Hotel in Nairobi along Mombasa Road, the Panari Resort in Nyahururu, and now, how do we call it now with the Best Western Signature Collection? What's the full name now?
Panari Hotel Resort
by Best Western Signature Collection.
Yes.
Okay. And then we've got the Panari residences in Nairobi as well, in Westlands. Conversation continues. When we come back, we'll be answering this question by Jehi. Jehi is asking, where exactly is the Panari Resort located? Last time I was in Nyahururu, I was looking to find a standard hotel room in town, and he didn't get. My friend, you didn't know. We will tell you where it is exactly. 26 minutes to 10.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
It's once again time for back to school shopping, and Naivas is here to let you know that you can shikanjia ya big shopping the Naivas Kiloko way. At Naivas, we acknowledge the effort parents and guardians have put into preparing for back to school. That's why we have lined up amazing deals and offers from the 24th to the 30th of April on back to school essentials with Naivas Kikapu Kibonge Super Safari. Naivas saves you
some very nice mature music.
They really take me back to my days, and I can just feel and enjoy the vibes.
Spice.
I'm a big listener of SpiceFM.
You play the best music.
This is 94.4 Spice FM. The weather with Spice FM.
Sunny conditions in Nairobi this morning, 18 degrees. It's 19 and sunny in Nakuru and 19 and sunny in Nyeri. 19 sunny conditions in Eldoret. And looking to a partly sunny Mombasa, it's 29 degrees. Malindi at 30 is sunny. And we'll see sunny conditions through Kisumu at 24, and at 22 it's sunny in Kakamega. Out into Kampala, 22, and it's sunny. And you guessed it, Dar es Salaam sunny as well at 26. Looking into a sunny Johannesburg at 15, we'll see highs of 23. Partly sunny at 30 in Mogadishu, and 18 and cloudy in Addis Ababa. It's 29 and cloudy in Lagos, and sunny at 25 in Kinshasa. Let's look into a cloudy Beijing Monday afternoon at 14. It's 9 degrees and sunny in Paris, and 10 and mostly sunny in London. 18 and mostly cloudy in New York, coming to highs of 27 through Monday.
Some very nice mature music.
They really take me back to my days, and I can just feel and enjoy the vibes.
Spice.
I'm a big listener of SpiceFM.
You play the best music.
This is 94.4 Spice FM.
Okay. Traffic in the city this morning, still a bit heavy on Uhuru Highway. It's all connecting from whether you're coming in from Arboretum State House or coming in on the other side of things from Lusaka Road. That's heavy. On the Thika Superhighway, we just have a little smidgen of it left as you come through Survey and also around Muthaiga Square. It's heavy if you look on this other side of things in Ring Road Westlands, coming off of Wayaki Way. It's not too bad. That traffic that was coming in from Lower Kabete towards Spring Valley seems to have dissipated for now. We're going to keep an eye on things through the day. You help us out. Let's talk on Spice FM KE on X.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
And our conversation continues with Benson Mulandi, the Group Sales and Marketing Manager for the Panari Group. That's a Panari Hotel in Nairobi, the Panari Resort in Nyahururu, Panari Resort by Best Western Signature Collection, and the Panari Residences in on Church Road in Nairobi. So where is the resort exactly?
Okay,
you get to Nyahururu.
Actually, after Nyahururu, let me start by saying from Nairobi, actually it's not far. It's 185 kilometers from Nairobi.
Only.
And you take approximately 2 hours and a half to get to Nyahururu. And after Nyahururu town, actually you go usually through Nyahururu town is just right ahead on that main road to Nyeri, I think. Yes. So after Nyahururu, through Nyahururu town.
So if you're using the Nyeri route, you'll get to the Panari before you get to Nyahururu town.
You pass through Nyahururu. If you are coming from
the Nyeri route.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Just before you get to town.
If you're coming from the Olkalau route, you'll get to Nyahururu, and then you get to the resort.
Nyahururu town, then through to the resort. Just right ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why did you select Nyahururu as the destination for the resort?
You see, people always talk of Naivasha, Masai Mara, and that route going to
Mombasa.
Nakuru, Mombasa.
They do.
So it's a place that is not very populated. You have heard people saying, "Oh, Masai Mara is so populated." I don't know, So it's a place that has got not many hotels or resorts. Actually, it's Nyahururu, and then now you have to talk of Mount Kenya, that other route. But it's a very nice. Here we are in 25 acres of land, so it's a place that is not utilized. And look at the attractions I've talked about, for whether it's in groups or individuals. Yeah, so that's the main one. And we are targeting actually even people who have always gone to Naivasha, and telling them now you can even combine Naivasha and then the resort Nyahururu. Yeah, and
how far is it from Naivasha?
Naivasha, let's say if you are coming from Nakuru is 50 kilometers.
From Nairobi?
And from Nairobi is 185.
Yeah.
So Naivasha is half the distance, to the resort.
It's 100. It will be considered that Nairobi to Naivasha
so when
is
you
about
get to
80.
Naivasha, usually you are half there.
Yes.
Halfway. And actually, if you are coming from Naivasha or Nairobi, it's the turnoff is just after the Ngilngil, the Wayne Bridge. It's a turnoff to your right that takes you through the Ngilngil town. Many people actually don't know where the Ngilngil town is. They think it's just the Wayne Bridge. So there's turnoff to your right hand side. You pass through the the Kenyatta barracks. Then it's a very straightforward route actually to the resort.
What challenges do you have in this whole ecosystem of hospitality in the country, in the region? What are some things that have been kind of difficult patches to get through, to understand that?
The ecosystem in terms of the
hospitality sector within a country where the economy sometimes is not doing so good, where the world system, saying folks are not traveling for one reason or another. What challenges have you faced through that, even beyond, the big glaring one, of course, a couple of years ago was COVID, but what are some of the other things that you face? I see some notes that folks talk about infrastructure, sometimes difficult. Are you making connections? Are you able to make connections for somebody to do a world route kind of thing if you're coming through Kenya? What have you found that have been, challenging?
Of course, as I said initially, the hospitality has seen a lot of challenges. It's a very sensitive sector. Actually, if there's anything that affects the human travel, I think the hospitality is the one that gets the heat. And of course, we have talked about the challenges of course, traveling. You are told you don't have to travel. There's this and that. The security, the security everywhere. But I'm happy to report. Actually, I think the hospitality also has been very resilient. You talk of infrastructure and road transport, but I forgot to mention at the resort we also have a helipad. You can land there by helicopter. So when the roads like now, we are talking of the roads being flooded, then there's an option for anyone who can fly, but. It's not about the road. You have heard about the roads in Masai Mara being impassable. The road is flooded. We don't have that kind of infrastructure on that route. So that is also a plus for majority. Of course, majority have to use by road. Other challenges you find, of course, the economy. We are talking of inflation. Currently, of course, you find people asking, do I have to, to go on a holiday, this person on holiday, or do I, look at the priorities for, for the individuals. And you find a lot people are not traveling, of course, even when it comes to companies. So it's not the individuals who are facing these challenges alone. The companies, I talked of NGOs, you find the funding has been cut, they cannot spend much. I'm saying it's a 5-star, resort. So of course, the price is affordable, but of course, it's not as low as when we talk of 10,000. So you find again the inflation, the economy, again also the budget cuts by the financiers of these NGOs, corporations, is also down. So
the question I've always wondered, and I'm glad you're here because you're the best person to answer it for me.
Yes.
These stars that are given, who gives them 5-star, 4-star, 3-star?
Well, can I decide I'm a 3-star?
No. By the way,
joking.
You can build your hotel and say 3-star, but this exercise is usually contracted by the government of Kenya, and it's the one that gives the rating for the hotels. Do
they use a global standard or is just a Kenya standard?
It's a global standard, and they look a lot of things, actually, things you cannot, believe. For example, you cannot be a 5-star hotel if you don't have a presidential suite in your hotel, for example. That is one of the criteria. They'll look to the levels of even the towers you use, and so many nitty-gritties. Actually, it's done by the TRA of the government body. That actually that exercise I think is going to be done very soon. The CS for Tourism, Honorable Mutua was talking about it the other day, and he was talking about how many so many hotels which are not following the standards, and you are calling yourself 5-star, 4-star.
So the Tourism Regulatory Authority is the one that should do this work.
Yeah. Actually, they did it not a long time ago. I think 2019. I think it was just before Corona.
Is there a standard duration within which this must be done?
Yes.
How often is it reviewed?
Usually, I think it's not sure, but I think it's after every 5 years. But of course, sometimes it can also it can.
And there have to be random checks in between.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
Correct.
Because if they came and they said the thread count for a towel in a 5-star hotel is ABCD, if you come and find a lower thread,
even bed sheets.
Bed sheets.
Yeah, those are the things, and of course also the hospitality business, it's also very T&W is very high, because of the traffic, and those towers are being used, washed daily, everything you can imagine. So it's very, very. It's not easy to maintain a hotel. Actually, it's a costly business.
What are the main costs of running a hotel? Say a 5-star establishment. What are these main areas that are heavy with cost?
Of course, like any other business, of course, there's the wage bill. The salaries.
Human resource.
It's one of the main areas. Of course, we talk of our electricity. Of course, many hotels have tried to go to solar. And one thing, solar cannot support the entire operation of the hotel. It's usually like a backup.
Okay.
We talk of electricity, we talk of water. Every hotel has to have, a borehole in addition to our main system for water. So and of course now the food. Actually in the hotel we talk of food cost, which has been always a challenge for hotels. There's a percentage even you are supposed to keep your cost at. We always say 28 or maybe 29, but you find the cost going as high as 30, 32, 33. Yes, so it's a costly business. Actually.
And that eats into your money. I'm asking this question because during this COVID time, when there was a complete shutdown of the hospitality sector, and then there was phased reopening and the conversations that were happening through, the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Tourism at that point, the hotel stakeholders, people like the Kenya Association of Hotel Keepers and Caterers, and the others, the then CS Balala would say, it's about time that the players in the hospitality sector actually woke up to the realities. That sometimes even your own costs for running the business are exaggerated, and then the charges that you're charging your customers are also exaggerated. And you're now coming up into an area where you have people who have less disposable income, and you must remain in business. Do you think, just from your own observation as somebody who's been in this industry for long, that the hospitality sector actually took lessons from COVID?
Yes, we took lessons. When we talk of cost, you see actually some of the cost cutting, that was started during COVID. They are still in place because they were good lessons, So we took a lot of lessons. When we talk of domestic market, for example, you realize actually a lot of hotels turned to our domestic market, and that I'm happy actually. A lot of Kenyans, a lot of locals have really, they realized it's time for them to also utilize, the hotel services, and not the way they used to think before, that these big hotels are only meant for, foreigners. It's not the same. The way I mentioned, go to the resort, for example, over the weekend, and you find a lot of families, who pass by actually just for lunch. A lot of families staying in those hotels, in those cottages, for overnight, for weekend. The other day we took, during the launch of this Western Signature Collection, we took one of the segments to the lounge for an overnight. These were all locals, and majority of them actually chose to stay for an extra night on their own, and that is what is telling you Kenyans have really embraced this of the approach of using our local hotels and not leave it to the people from outside.
So what is the strategy that Panari has to ensure that you keep attracting this local market? Because you correctly say, yes, local tourism seems to be on the increase from what we hear. But what do you do that would indicate to the locals that you have actually taken the time and bother to attract them to come to your resort?
Actually, the main thing, when you tell a Kenyan to travel, for example, what they look at is the rate, the cost.
Yes. Yes.
Without even going deeper to ask
quality of service.
What is it in this rate? Pesa ngapi. Basically. So is they're coming up with the packages that can accommodate the locals. When we talk of all these activities I mentioned about, you find I've given you a good rate that will accommodate the activities I'm talking about, the activities you can do with your families when you are there. The activities I'm talking about, the children area, the resort, for example, inclusive of the swimming pool, the gym and everything.
Yeah.
I've given you a full board rate. Usually, actually, it's important to mention the resort. You need a full board rate when you are staying there. There's no place maybe to walk outside kiosk somewhere. And
some of us just do 1 meal a day and we are good. But must I pay for all three?
No. Actually, all those levels of this bed and breakfast, there's half board, there's full board. So actually, the options are there.
Okay.
You choose.
Okay.
But the prices, they've been, meant for Kenyans. Yeah. You can imagine giving you the 20,000, for example, full board, everything. But of course, again, I'm saying there's a rate for bed and breakfast. There's a rate for. You
can choose to do this and the other.
Yeah.
The modern
and then you pass by for lunch and dinner. It's open for all the levels of the meals.
How old is the hotel?
8 years. The Panari Resort.
I like the idea of the packages because I recall at a time long before COVID, some of our coastal hotels would have packages during the long holidays, school holidays like Easter. And some of those prices were actually amazingly reasonable.
Yes.
Amazingly. And then they'd give you this little ribbon that you put on your hand.
All inclusive.
Yes. And so you ask, what is this? And then you're told, are you sure? They say, yeah, we're quite sure, it's okay. I'm asking now, if that offer can be made, clearly the arithmetic has been done and it has been found that it can work. Okay? Now,
exactly.
Is that the sort of thing that you people do at Panari? And do you do it during certain seasons, like when schools are closed? Because when schools are closed, that's when it is easier for the parents to even consider going with their children to such a place.
Correct. Actually, for example, when I talk of a full board, that means, bed, breakfast and dinner, all the meals covered. And the packages for schools, actually, we get a lot of schools there also, just the way I mentioned here, because of the ice skating for Nairobi. The resort, again, because of, the location, the expansive place and the activities. These school trips, the Thompson Falls, those attractions inside the resort and outside, the resort. They bring a lot of schools for school trips, Thompson Falls, they go down the falls, climb up, hippo pools, now the sand deck for the elephants. And we are talking, actually, when you are there, for even when we talk of the national parks, there's a park called Solio, which is not very far from the resort.
Yes.
Guests can also go to Solio Park, for game drives, So, yes, the packages are there, which now I'm bringing a lot of local schools, actually, not international, to the resort. And it's one of our main segments from business during the holidays and also during the schools, because, the school trips happen when the schools are in session.
Let me ask this question. If there were no tourists coming into the country, do you think the local tourists could sustain the industry?
They play a part. It's not, I won't say it's 100%.
Where would you put it as a percentile? 10, 20, 30, 40?
I'll separate, Nairobi business is different from the resort, for example. So when it comes to Nairobi, you find the percentage will be lower, maybe 20%.
Okay.
When we go to the resort, of course, because of now Kenyans go to now the resort, families, holidays, and during the schools, when the schools are closed, then you find a lot of families. Then I will give it, maybe 25%. Yeah. One thing you realize, whether you are in the Nyahururu resort or maybe in Masai Mara or anywhere else where there are resorts and lounges, for example, the business is usually is not a straight line curve. It's usually very seasonal. That's why you find, maybe even in Mombasa, you find some hotels closed during a certain period. Yeah, so you find, the local business can also be very seasonal, because it's usually maybe during the holidays when the schools are closed. That's where when Kenyans will travel a lot. Or maybe during the festive season, you find it now them going to Mombasa and Nyahururu, Naivasha. But during the other days, you find it then it's very low. Because
quite low.
It's usually you find the local, there's a lot of family, it's family affair. So you want to travel together. When there's the children are not around, then, parents don't travel because they want to carry, their children.
So largely then, because of those dynamics that we look at, where if you see that Kenyans would travel, they'll do that around the holiday period or when the family can be together.
Yes.
At least in most of its entirety.
Yes.
So based on that, then a lot of the hospitality industry is targeted for external visitors.
Yes.
It's not then seeing what they can come and then see and enjoy.
External visitors. When we talk of, corporate business, company retreats, you see that is during,
That's during, in between the holidays.
In between, so...
Benson, how about the regional market? I know KTB has been doing quite some work with the regional tourism bodies as well. And the players, East Africa Tourism Association, have been trying to promote Kenya as a destination to fellow East African countries, Ugandans, Rwandese, Burundians, and so on and so forth. Is that picking up?
Yes, actually we work closely with KTB, starting here with Nairobi, of course. KTB putting together these exceptional experiences, signature experiences for the country. When we talk of ice skating in Panari, Nairobi, it's one of the signature experiences which has been captured by KTB. When we go to Panari Resort in Nyahururu, it has got signature experiences. When we talk of, the Thompson Falls, we talk of now the water hole for the elephants, sand deck. So we work together. And then they put it in there. They always look for new experiences in the market and put it together. That way, we are able to reach the East Africa and beyond for the other areas of the business.
Are we seeing more Ugandans coming to Kenya on holiday?
Yes, Ugandans come to Kenya.
Rwandans
actually, when you look at the travel industry, East Africa, actually Ugandans come a lot to Kenya. I think it's mostly it's the leading to the country. Of course, we all know not all of them. When you look at the NJKA, the entry, it's not all of them who stay in the hotels, and there's always this question of where are these people staying? There's a lot of Ugandans into the country, but of course we know some of them are business people coming, for shopping, yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of travel to the country from East Africa.
Go ahead, visit the Panari Hotel in Nairobi, or you can go to the Panari Resort in Nyahururu, buy Best Western Signature Collection, or you can also visit the Panari residence. Benson Mulandi, the Group Sales and Marketing Manager, has been our guest this morning. Thank you for tuning in to Kenya's biggest conversation. Have a lovely day, 10 a.m.